One Piece: The Legend of Creation, Chapter 141-160. 141 Terrible Potential. I can't die yet. Bartholomew Kuma stood up slowly. The huge wound in the back actually started to squirm. If a normal person encountered such a wound, he would have died, but Bartholomew Kuma seemed to be injured. It's not like him. Obviously, Marine's high technology cannot be underestimated. The combination of technology and the advantages of human beings, coupled with the ability of the devil fruit, makes Bartholomew Kuma have a strong vitality. Then do you want to come again? Although Lu Chengkong's resilience in his normal state was not as good as his resilience in a demonic state, it was also not to be underestimated. After a few seconds, his feet were trembling so badly, especially the right foot has recovered and looks the same as before the fight. The external damage has been repaired, and the internal repair is now being done. No, I'm not your opponent. Bartholomew Kuma did not have the narrow-mindedness of the other defeated people. Instead, he justly admitted that he was not Lu Chengkong's opponent. In many cases, it is not simply because of his strength that he needs to be recognized by others. What is more needed is his mind and spirit, etc. Just like the Blackbeard in the original book, his strength is getting stronger and stronger after getting the dark fruit, but who can he recognize? Who will admire him? It is only his forbearance and endurance that may be admired. After this time, the Marine headquarters will pay more attention to you, and may even send to Admiral to encircle and suppress you. Also, be careful of the CPO, I wish you good luck. Bartholomew Kuma can say that these are obviously transactions between the two parties. So he also told Lu Chengkong the information that he knew and was helpful to Lu Chengkong and others, and then teleported a few jumps and didn't know where he went. Although there was no one here, Lu Chengkong was sure that this time the people in the Marine headquarters absolutely know that when the time comes, their bounty will be higher, and Marine will pay more attention to them. In fact, it doesn't take long at all, because after Bartholomew Kuma told Sengoku of this plan, Sengoku has already arranged several monitors at high altitude, and Lu Chengkong and others did not cover up, so they are all fighting here. It is clear to see, although I can't hear the dialogue, I can't see some details, and the picture is a bit blurry, but the victory or defeat of the battle, some moves, etc. can be seen. The clarity is the same as the pinhole camera, a little bit blurry. Bang! In the Marshal's office of Marine headquarters, Sengoku's face became solemn for the first time after watching this battle. The solemn expression on Lu Chengkong and others was because of the mysterious girl, but without the support of the mysterious girl, Sengoku was still this is the first time to show such an expression. His strength has become stronger again. I think the most frightening thing about him is not his fruit ability, but his speed of progress. Every time he fights, the battle he shows is obviously much stronger than the last one. The Admiral Kizaru finally appeared this time, and he was the first to give his opinion after watching the whole battle. My biggest worry is that he is still hiding his strengths until now. Sengoku, as the Marshal, as the resourceful general, sees farther and deeper than the people present. You mean he might have a conqueror? Admiral Kizaru can't sit still now, his strength has improved so fast, and his ability is so abnormal. If you add conqueror, it's still worth it. Look here. Garp, who had been snoring all the time, not only didn't sleep, he didn't eat donuts, but instead pointed to the corner of the teleported screen. Sengoku and the others immediately followed the place where Kapu pointed, and what caught their eyes was a vague shadow, golden hair, and a tall figure. The silhouette of Sengoku knew that the man's face was a little livid. Why is that woman there? Didn't she agree to the world government to kill them? Why didn't she take action? Sengoku's face was very gloomy. He didn't expect such a mess at a critical moment, especially when the woman in the picture shot. After taking Don Quixote Doflamingo's attack, and she is now standing on the pirate ship, this has to make Sengoku think whether this woman has joined Lu Chengkong's happy pirates. Why is that woman there? Could it be that she joined the free and easy pirates? Bastard, what did that Lu Chengkong eat to grow up? How could he recruit so many people stronger than him to join the pirates, and still let our people betray? Sengoku growled no longer. What's the matter? Akainu, who didn't know the identity of the woman, asked in confusion. Ask Garp yourself, that bastard. Sengoku hurriedly threw the question to Garp, and Garp was even more direct. He was standing beside the screen just now, but he was already back on the sofa and fell asleep. Sengoku almost fainted. Forget it, this woman is inherently unreliable. If it weren't for her strength and ability, I would have gotten rid of her long ago. Now the pirates in the New World have basically calmed down. What a big storm, let them fight in their nests now. Kizaru, Kuzan, Akainu, 2 of the 3 of you go and clean them up. This time they must not be allowed to live. If it is really impossible, they can only be shot. Sengoku's face. He took a deep breath and ordered immediately. Hey, damn pirate, this time I, Akainu, will definitely let you bury you in the sea. Akainu saw that there were 2 people going this time, and he had no task and was very free, so he took up the task. Let this old man go see the king in this pirate nova. What is the capability of the happy pirates? Kizaru didn't know if he was trying to get along with Akainu. The last time Akainu came, he ran away. This time, Akainu said go, he went too, and his actions obviously reminded Akainu of what happened last time. If it wasn't for Sengoku staring at him there, signaling him to learn to calm down, he would have rushed over and fought with Kizaru. Sengoku, I said, do you think Kizaru and Akainu are getting old and want them to die so they can get 2 new admirals? Garp said heartlessly. Brush. Akainu and Kizaru immediately turned their heads and looked at Sengoku with suspicious eyes, especially Kizaru. He has worked with Sengoku for many years, but he knows that Sengoku is very insidious. Fruit was so fast that Sengoku might have killed him several times, so Garp's words immediately alerted Kizaru. 142 Garp is also cheating. Garp, what do you mean by that? Sengoku was a little confused now, obviously he wasn't pretending. He really didn't know what Garp meant this time. Hey, it seems that you not only have a bad heart, but your memory is also a little degraded. Garp didn't answer Sengoku's words immediately, but instead stimulated Sengoku's heart a little, and explained after Sengoku's veins burst. Didn't I just point at that woman? Although I don't know if he is from the Happy Pirates, but you have to take precautions. If so, if she does, then Kizaru and Akainu will be able to come back. Oh, I really forgot about her existence, but she is so arrogant. Although Lu Chengkong's pirate group has unlimited potential, there is only 1 admiral level combat power. Even if there is no 4 emperor level, she should not be able to join. Sengoku's face was a little bit unbearable. He really accidentally forgot the existence of this woman just now, but his expression was misunderstood by Kizaru that Sengoku was bashing him. I also said that I am the resourceful general. I reminded you just now, but now you have forgotten it. I really don't know if someone did it on purpose. Don't forget to provoke the relationship between Sengoku and Kizaru Akainu. It looks very funny, but in Sengoku's eyes it is extremely hateful. Didn't I say I forgot? It's all right now, since you have a good relationship with her, Garp, and you discovered this problem, then this woman will be handed over to you. The resourceful general is worthy of being the resourceful general, immediately thought of a way to push Garp to the front, and even blocked Garp's retreat immediately so that Garp had to go. After all, he was still a marine in name, and a marine hero, and his position was vice admiral, and now the marshal is in front of him. So many people, especially Admiral, let him go, and if Garp can't escape this time, Sengoku won't have much deterrence in the future. Come on, just go. Although Garp is always struggling with Sengoku, Sengoku is his old friend after all, and he can't do it if the old friend can't step down, but Sengoku has a good plan, and so does Garp. Those who cross the wall ladder, after all, are people who have lived for so many years. They are already old fritters, but their thinking is very mature. Sengoku, it's not a problem for me to go, but we are not facing ordinary pirates, but vicious pirates who have the opportunity to become 4 emperors, and they are still a group. It's okay to fight Kuzan before, Then this time they but facing the siege of the 4 Shichibukai and their forces. They can still win. Plus that woman is there. Although a 4 Emperor level combat power is not sure whether it is a member of the Happy Pirates, but it depends on the situation to a large extent. It's dangerous for us to go this way, and you should show something. Sengoku said with an evil smile on his face, rubbing his hands that he had just picked up his booger. He walked to Sengoku and waved. Then what do you think? Sengoku immediately knew that he had not said all of what he had just said, so Garp found a loophole and secretly thought that he was not good. Just when he was about to add, Garp was the first to say it dead, and what Caput said is also reasonable. Let the highest combat force fight to the death outside, and he sits here and enjoys the success. There is no point in saying that Garp's bastard may really be slow to work. The easy pirates have done such a sensation this time, shouldn't you increase their bounty, and if we go to solve them, should we be able to receive this bounty? Garp's words immediately echoed Kizaru's. Both eyes are full of Barry's patterns, and although Akainu still has a dead face on the side, if you look at his eyes seriously, you can still see a hint of desire from the depths of his eyes. Obviously, Akainu is also tempted. After all, this is not a small amount of money. Although the number of people combined is small, the bounty is very large. Bastard, if you tell the truth about this time, do you know that it will have a big impact on Marine's reputation? Do you know that this may make the pirates that have gradually calmed down to flourish again? Sengoku didn't think about it. He shook his head in rejection, shaking his head like a rattle. Sengoku, I said that you have short hair and shorter knowledge. I really don't know how you can get the position of Marine Marshal. Think about it, the three of us can say that it is Marine's highest combat power. If you publish this incident going out, the bounty has increased, but we will solve them in the next moment, then not only will it further damage the morale of the pirates, but even the prestige of Shichibukai will be suppressed, and some of the Shichibukai who want to develop their power are also getting twice the result with half the effort. And don't forget that the opponent they faced was only Shichibukai, and the pirates were the pirates. They didn't deal any blow to Marine's reputation. The one who was hit was Shichibukai. In addition, we took care of them immediately, and Marine shot. Yes, we solved them at one time. Then you said that Shichibukai and these pirates could not clean up the Happy Pirates, but we solved it as soon as we made a move. You said that Marine's morale will be high. At this time, Garp seems to have become the world's #1 cheating powerhouse, and continues to perform cheating magic on Sengoku. Sengoku has to admit that Garp's idea this time is really good. If it is successful, Marine's prestige will really increase to an unprecedented level, and his marshal has made a great contribution. Although Garp and these guys will earn more than 1 billion, but 1 billion can solve the pirate group, Sengoku does not mind. After all, the world government has a lot of money, and the business group that Gorosei 5 Elders secretly controls is thousands. It is too simple to buy shares without worrying about breaking the balance and taking out tens of billions of bellies. It is possible to solve a serious problem with 1 billion bells, and it is possible to become a pirate group of the 4 emperors in the future. Sengoku also thinks it is feasible after thinking for a while, but he is familiar with Garp's character and knows that this guy is absolutely impossible. He thought so much for Marine sincerely, so he quickly found a problem. That is, all of this is based on the premise that the Garp guys can clean up the easy pirates. If it fails, then, the reputation of Marine will definitely be damaged, and if the Gorosei 5 Elders can't handle it well, the blame for blaming him is a setback, so he still prepares for it. Garp, what you said is very reasonable, but the early stage is based on the fact that you can clean up the Happy Pirates. What if you fail? Have you ever thought that I can promise you what you said, but in the early stage, you have to guarantee this time only success is allowed and no failure is allowed, otherwise I will not dare to promise you. Quote. 143 Impulsive Punishment. Marshal, are you looking down on us? 2 of the 3 highest combat powers have now gone, and Garp can compete even against the 4 Emperor-level pirates. You are worried that we will fail. It's just against us. An insult to dignity. In the name of Akainu, I promise to absolutely kill these pirates that shouldn't exist in the world. The best face, and arguably the most impulsive station, Akainu immediately stood up and assured. Haha, Akainu, you've been tricked now. Of course you forced Rouge to death. It's okay for this old man to make a small calculation for you, and whether you can successfully calculate you depends on the strength of the happy pirates. I hope you won't let the old man down. Garp's face was expressionless, but he thought very proudly in his heart. That's right, Garp's purpose this time is to calculate Akainu and Sengoku. Of course, Sengoku used him to find Rouge and made him lose his trust in One Piece King of Pirates Roger. In the end, although Ace survived, Rouge was dead. Now, Garp is still brooding about this matter, and even got into a fight with Sengoku because of this. As for the outcome, it is unknown. Everyone in Marine Headquarters has justice in their hearts and their dignity. 3 Admiral pursuing his own justice, Garp will do the same, so this time he can be considered to seek justice for Rouge and the others. After all, an innocent woman was implicated on some trumped-up charges, and even more so, she wanted to kill the child in her stomach, and if Garp agreed, could Garp not be angry? Akainu is ruthless because of his justice, and Garp will also be angry because his justice is desecrated, but he is a rational person after all, and also a marine person, and Sengoku is his old friend for many years. Not too much of a thing. So he just thought of a way to make a calculation based on the strength of the happy pirates. Anyway, he is only responsible for building the line. Whether he can succeed in the end depends on the strength of the members of the happy pirates. After all, if the happy pirates the regiment can survive the siege of the 3 of them, even Sengoku can't say anything, even Gorosei 5 elders can't blame Sengoku, and Akainu, who is the most impulsive and hates Liu Chenghong the most, will definitely think with Garp. It jumped out to guarantee, then the last unlucky is definitely Akainu. In the Marine Headquarters don't like Akainu. It's not because of his temper, but because he's not very good at being a man and has offended too many people. If it wasn't for his combat power and his many years of credit, it would be Sengoku couldn't help but slap him, let alone Garp who was injustice because of his avoidance of Rouge, but because of his identity and Sengoku's blocking Garp has been unable to shoot, otherwise Garp can catch up with One Piece King of Pirates Roger's strength to kill Akainu is not difficult at all. Therefore, the success of this calculation is not due to Garp, but to the strength of Liu Chenghong and others. Garp did not simply calculate Sengoku and Akainu. He also gave them a great benefit and bait. However, the premise is that Liu Chenghong and others will be cleaned up by them. Then all of this can be said to be a contest of strength between the 2 sides. Akainu and others lost, so no wonder that others went by yourself this time. You deserve to be unlucky and you can make Garp feel comfortable. If it succeeds, then Garp will not say anything. After all, the world is such a reality, and it is no wonder that the strength is not as good as that of people who want to be a pirate and die like a pirate. After all, even if Garp doesn't propose this idea, the Marine Headquarters will not let Liu Chenghong and others go, so what will the final result be if you don't do it? No wonder Garp. You're right, it seems that I'll be a little stressed, even if that woman takes action. Garp, you can restrain her. 2 admirals can't kill a newly born pirate group, so it's no wonder someone else. Sengoku also felt that his worries were a little unnecessary, but after seeing Akainu jumping out to promise, he also dispelled the last wisp, but he always had a feeling of being calculated in his heart. Fortunately, it's Akainu's own guarantee, the old man has no guarantees. In Kizaru's heart, Garp and Sengoku are both very deceitful, and they will be counted if they are not careful, so he is cautious, not as impulsive as Akainu. After all, the justice he insists on is justice in the face of danger, an easy-going personality, also called a Wallist. So he was very careful in his position. This time, he obviously found out that it was a fight between Garp and Sengoku, so he chose not to choose either side for safety. He chose to stand in the middle, and there was no guarantee. Admiral is supposed to do his duty. He can't be blamed for any accident. It is precisely because of this that Kizaru has lived very well for so many years. Although it is not as popular as Garp, Sengoku and Kuzan, it is definitely better than Akainu. There are many, at least they will not be missed every day. Akainu, Sengoku, you are in a tragedy this time. Kuzan, who has never spoken or expressed his opinion, thought to himself, Kuzan, who has trained with Garp, knows Garp very well. Not to mention that Garp, as a father who can teach a son like Munchi D. Dragon, do you think his scheming will be bad? Just that Garp's character disdains to use these intrigues. What he prefers is to be straight and forthright, so that he can live more comfortably and freely. This time Garp can be said to be the first time he has tricked people. It is entirely because Sengoku tricked him before, and Akainu killed Rouge and blasphemed his justice. Trapped him in injustice, so he only used it once a little. So a battle under the leadership of Garp's needle and lead is about to begin, but this time, it is not Garp who masters the result, but the strength of Liu Chengkong and others. Very good, then Sengoku, how much do you plan to increase their reward? Garp immediately threw the little juju in his heart out of the sky, his eyes were full of money, and Sengoku almost couldn't help turning into a giant Buddha. Garp, let him not be obsessed, but it may be because Garp's obsession is very deep, and his Taoism is not under his great Buddha, so he did not implement his salvation plan in the end, so Garp can't turn his back. Liu Chengkong's reward has been raised to 400 million. Garp interrupted Sengoku immediately when he was about to speak. Hey, I said Sengoku, aren't you too stingy? You have improved so much after one fight with Kuzan, and now his strength is getting stronger and stronger, especially the latter one is very similar to Rokushiki's ability, the speed of improvement is so fast, the fruit ability is so strong, and there is a possibility of hiding Conqueror, and the captain can recruit so many strong people, and now you have defeated the alliance of the 4 Shichibukai and their forces, you actually only raised 50 million. I don't think you have any sincerity. Garp said with a heartbroken look of my own good for you. 144 fame. Then 450 million is always enough, right? It can't be any more. How long has he been out, and how long has he been a pirate? He has improved so much in a row. You should know that after 350 million, every 100 million increase it's a hurdle, and it's an assessment of the pirate's strength. He admits that he may have hidden a lot of strength, but at most his current strength is that he can fight against an admiral, at most 450 million. More. Sengoku made a decision immediately, completely ignoring Garp's silent gestures to Kizaru and Sengoku behind his back, otherwise he would definitely vomit blood with regret. It really is a Garp cow. Even Sengoku can't escape the end of hemorrhage. At this time, the small balance in Kizaru's heart has been slightly cheaper to Garp, and the most important thing is that Garp's ability to collect money is too strong. Well, mixing with Garp is definitely more oily than mixing with Sengoku. Bastard, catching pirates is a matter of course, so you have to care about these things, but in order to better implement justice and kill all the evil pirates, funding is essential. Akainu also rarely calmed down. Impulsively rushed out, but stood here calmly and looked at Garp's expression. It seems that the charm of money plays a pivotal role in any time, space, or world. At least it can make Akainu change so much. Not out yet. Boa Hancock 400 million. Sengoku, the previous one may have Conqueror and can only compete with Admiral. You have given 450 million, but this Boa Hancock is the queen of 9 Snake Island. Although she has left now, her influence is still huge. He gave an order. The entire 9 Snakes Island will rush out, and she is also the powerhouse of the 3-color hockey. From her strength in the battle with Don Quixote Doflamingo and Kuzan's guess, it is possible that this woman will make a full shot. Will beat Admiral. How can this be more than 500 million? It's just that Kaxi clearly intends to cause Sengoku to bleed a lot. In Garp's heart, even if there is nothing wrong with Sengoku in the end, he can't make him feel better. At least hemorrhage is absolutely inevitable, so he is a bit preoccupied with negotiating with Sengoku, and the bargaining skills he shows make him feel better. The 3 Admiral are dumbfounded. Is this still a marine hero? It's like a nanny who buys food in the market. I will endure. I will endure. I will endure for this action. For Marine, Garp, you wait for me. If I fail this time, I will never let you go. Sengoku kept comforting himself in his heart, trying his best to let himself the fiery heart endured, and at the same time, he thought of his own heart, and he was worried that he would pass out accidentally like the previous few times. In order to avoid losing face again, he immediately put a pill into his mouth at an amazing speed. The beating speed was getting faster and faster. The fast heartbeat slowly calmed down. Then it's 500 million, Khalifa, 400 million, no more, Juliana, 300 million, don't give me anything you have, this woman has not fought Shichibukai, and can only increase by 100 million at most. Sengoku seeing that Garp wants to talk again, he is telling his reasons not to let Garp speak, but he is very surprised. I didn't expect Garp's bargaining power to be so strong. No wonder he can take care of a son and 2 grandchildren by himself. Long ears. It's Enel, Garp corrected on the side. After this battle, with Bartholomew Kuma's report, the Marine headquarters also knew their names. Lu Chengkong told Bartholomew Kuma and asked Bartholomew Kuma to report it. It's just a habit. Sengoku couldn't change it for a while. Enel, a Guro no Mi, rumble fruit capable person. Judging from the performance in the previous screen, his observation hockey is very strong, but armament hockey is much weaker in comparison, 355,000. Sengoku worried Garp wants to bargain again. This time, he did not hesitate to increase Enel from 10 million to 10 million. It can be said that Enel has the largest and fastest increase. Therefore, Garp can't find a reason to bargain this time. After all, Sengoku's price is very pertinent. Canis, it should be music fruit, 30 million. Lackey, energy fruit, 30 million. Because the last two have the least contribution, and their strength is not very strong, it seems that they should have eaten the devil fruit for a long time. Capabilities are only just beginning to be developed. I'll do the math. Garp ignored Sengoku's blue face, took out a calculator from his bag and started calculating without anyone else. 2,060 million, Sengoku, you really have a lot of money. Don't worry, I will try my best, but if I find a piece of berry missing, I will just let them go. Garp said cautiously. Obviously Sengoku's reputation in his heart is endlessly close to zero. I promise in the name of Marine Headquarters, Marshal. Sengoku found that since he fought with Garp, he seemed to be getting older and worse, and his heart was getting worse. For the sake of his own health, Sengoku assured that he was very aware of current affairs this time. Well, fortunately you said in the name of the Marshal. If you are in the name of Sengoku, I really want to consider agreeing to you. Kakushi nodded, and did not forget to stimulate Sengoku a little before leaving, and at the same time he was also very smart and walked away quickly. Bastard Garp. As soon as Garp walked away, Sengoku finally roared unbearably, even with hockey in his roar, and some weak marine soldiers nearby were immediately crushed to the ground by the enormous pressure. The Garp guy is still the same as before, but that time Sengoku and Akainu really went too far. They calculated Garp and made Garp fall into injustice. Being calculated as a tit for tat, but Garp, do you really think can they help you win this calculation? He, who was not far away, thought a little funny, as the intelligent crane in Marine, how could she not see Garp's calculation, but she didn't want to expose it either. After all, she was a little blinded by this matter. When the Marine headquarters released the latest bounties of Lu Chengkong and others, within a few days, these bounties had basically flowed through the 4 sea areas in the south, north and west. The highest and most amazing pirate gang's bounty. After seeing the bounty, their first thought was that they didn't believe it, but after seeing the comments below, they were all surprised that the 4 Shichibukai and their forces joined forces to be defeated. Could it be that Shichibukai has become weak? For a while, some pirates who had already given up on Shichibukai's position began to hoard their strength to defeat Shichibukai in one fell swoop, to win Shichibukai's throne and become a new Shichibukai. After all, Shichibukai's power and benefits are really attractive. 145 Wonderful figure. Kurlalala, This kid really didn't let me down. The speed of growth is really amazing. He can already fight against 4 Shichibukai. The power of that kid is only under the Eagle Eye Admiral level powerhouse. There is no it's amazing to think that he was still beaten unscathed. Whitebeard drank the wine while looking at the reward in his hand, and there was a rare admiration in his tone. It seems that Dad's eyes are much sharper than mine, and he saw the potential of these guys early on. Marco looked at these bounties and thought with admiration. At the same time, he also wanted to fight Lu Chengkong. Rob Lucci, Kaku and others gathered around the number 1 dock and looked at the reward order in their hands. There were all kinds of feelings in their hearts: admiration, joy, pride, bitterness, and sadness. The 5-flavor bottle is more complicated. On the one hand, they are happy and proud of Lu Chengkong and Khalifa's achievements. On the other hand, they are saddened by Lu Chengkong becoming a pirate, and at the same time they think that when they meet again in the future, they may have to meet each other. Lucci, it seems that even if we hide our strengths and bide our time here and try to become stronger, we thought we could shorten the distance between the two of them, but now it seems that the distance has not decreased, but has increased a lot. Kaku said with complicated eyes. They have been working undercover in the water capital for a while, and they have gained the trust of the people here. It's a pity that Lu Chengkong and Khalifa are missing. They always feel as if something is missing, and the atmosphere is not as good as before. Active and harmonious. He still treats us as brothers. Although Rob Lucci had a cold face, he looked at an anonymous letter in his hand with emotion and sadness. After reading it, he put the letter in his hand. It was handed over to Kaku and others in front of him. Because there were no Khalifa and Lu Chengkong, Rob Lucci, Kaku, Bluno, and Khalifa were originally the 4 who came to be undercover in the original book, but now they have become Fukuro. Of course, Kaku and others are worried about Fukuro. Nonsense had prepared a small lock mixed with sea stone to lock the zipper on Fukuro's mouth. So Fukuro can't speak, and of course only the 3 of them have the key, and that's why they are so relieved that Fukuro will follow. Otherwise all secrets will be revealed with Fukuro's big mouth, and they will be a fart undercover, but without Khalifa as a secretary, it is not as convenient to listen to secrets and so on. What is this? Haki, Kaku, Fukuro, and Bluno were shortlisted together and looked at the letter in their hands. Because of the influence of Lu Chengkong and others, they didn't know as much as CP9 in the original book. I have learned to look at everything with my own eyes, at least not being affected by Marine's inherent brainwashing ideas. The real masters of the Great Waterway must be familiar with the use of Haki. Here are Haki's cultivation methods and insights. Who else is there besides him, and these contents are more precious than devil fruits. After reading it, write it down and burn it, it must not be spread out. Quote. Rob Lucci said this with an unmistakable tone. After Lu Chengkong left, he served as the captain of CP9, so he was responsible for everyone in CP9, and Kaku and others also agreed. Nodding his head, he was also very moved. From today onwards, in addition to the necessary tasks, we have to awaken Haki and practice Haki. Of course, it is up to you how to do it quietly without everyone's eyes and ears. After Rob Lucci finished speaking, he stood up and worked. Too long can be suspicious. This time, the future is even more variable. Originally because of Lu Chengkong, Rob Lucci and others have far surpassed the original work. Now they have told them about Haki's training methods and his own insights. In the future, if the Straw Hats see the gang of thieves clashed with them, and without Robin to deal with them, they would definitely be out of luck. Not to mention the various shocks caused by the bounty offered by Lu Chengkong and others at this time, but said that the original owner Lu Chengkong and his gang who caused these things at this time were enjoying their just moments on a small island on the way to Sabayati Archipelago. When you come to the beach, only the people on the whole boat are capable, so basically you can only play in the shallow sea. Looking at all the girls wearing all kinds of sexy swimsuits, they showed all their beautiful bodies that have been hidden for a long time. Of course, our god Enel, since he is a god, of course we can't let him appear. After all, Lu Chengkong is domineering. Incomparably, he directly locked him on the boat. Fortunately, The combination of Haki and Xingang could only hear the sound, but not the image, otherwise Lu Chengkong, Hancock and others wouldn't mind knocking him out. However, this guy is also very aware of current affairs, and can definitely be compared with Shaolin monks in terms of abstaining from female sex, so every time he encounters such a situation, he will come to his own cabin to practice. Cover your towel and cover your body. After Lu Chengkong got the new reward, he asked the girls to pick up the towel that had been prepared by his side and wrap the bumpy and beautiful jade body. Only then did Chengkong shout, "Enel, a new reward has come out." "What? How much is mine?" Enel, who had been cultivating with his eyes closed in the cabin, heard the sound and flew out immediately. He said with a moved face. Lu Chengkong didn't say anything and directly handed over his reward. Gave him. "Haha, 350 million. This price is barely worthy of its own identity. Hey, even if the number of battles is too small, it is not bad. It is worthy of being a god, but it has been raised from 10 million to 10 million after one shot. More than 300 million, hey, sometimes being too famous is not a good thing." Enel immediately laughed proudly when he saw it, but later found that everyone was looking at him with strange eyes and immediately restrained. "This is definitely not true. How can this long ear be taller than me? I only have 300 million and he is actually 350 million. Are those people in the Marine headquarters filled with shit?" Juliana glanced at herself. "Yes. After comparing it with Enel, I found that I was actually 50 million less than this guy, and immediately became popular." Seeing Enel's dazed appearance, Juliana immediately fought with him. In the end, it was Lu Chengkong's persuasion. "Just to stabilize your emotions. Okay, Bulena, Marine is not just judged by his strength. In addition to his strength, it also depends on what you do, the level of threat, and the opponent you face. Last time Enel faced Shichibukai, and the first time is to face Shichibukai, plus Guro Guro no Mi, Rumble Rumble Fruit, who is also a master of Haki. The Marine headquarters certainly offered him a lot of bounties. If your opponent is also Shichibukai, definitely not less than him." After Lu Chengkong's exhausting words, Juliana finally calmed down and understood. 146 CP0. My 450 million. It seems that the bear guy is right. The next fight with Marine may be two admiral or even stronger people. Be careful CP0. CPO, I still don't know what it is. Lu Zhongkong looked at his reward. That photo was before he used the demon transformation. Black windbreaker, self-colored clothing underlay, black bright trousers, and handsome facial features combined to form a sword eyebrow, star eyes, bohemian face, plus the charm of the evil smile on the corner of the mouth is really irresistible. Hancock, this time you're number one again. Khalifa looked at his bounty. At this time, Khalifa's dress was exactly the same as the original. He wore a pair of glasses without prescription on the bridge of his nose, and a secretary dressed up against Lu next to Chengkong. She seemed to be telling everyone that if she wanted to be a secretary, she would be Lu Chengkong's secretary. I don't think this time is easy. After seeing these bounties, I always have a bad feeling, as if we are being targeted by some beast. Compared with the laughter and laughter of others, Boenkok's face is a little serious. I don't know why she always has a very depressed feeling in her heart. It seems that the bear's words will soon be fulfilled. Marine's pursuit is coming, but this time it is not Shichibukai, but 3 admirals and at least 2, but these are not my worst worries. I'm worried about her. Lu Chengkong said with a heavy expression as he looked at Kortgas D. Dana, who was grilling. What are you looking at me for? Kortgas D. Dana said strangely, as if I didn't know anything. Since Marine can see our live battle, they can also see your presence. At that time, you resisted the attack of Don Quixote da Flamingo, then the old guy Sengoku is likely to regard you as one of our members. For the sake of be prepared, the possibility of that guy from Garp coming is very high. Lu Chengkong never let his brain go to waste even if he had the power. Since he came to the world of One Piece, King of Pirates, he didn't want to develop the opposite power it is best to develop in all aspects. Oh, the analysis is pretty good, so what are you going to do? Kortgas D. Dana said, still pretending to be confused. It's very simple. If Caxi will come, then it's obviously aimed at you, so if Garp makes a move, you must contain him. Don't forget that you are also a member of the Happy Pirates now. Lu Chengkong has no scruples at all. Portgas D. Dana's strength, said in an unquestionable tone. Okay, don't look at me like that, I promise you that's all. If that guy Garp shoots, I'll help you hold him. I'm a little regretful of joining your pirate group, but Marine's actions are also it's too fast. Portgas D. Dana saw that everyone around her was looking at her with the same eyes, and in the end she could only raise her hand and agreed. After all, she said it herself before that she was from the Easy Pirates. Once she is, then she has to take this responsibility. Where did CP0 come from? I remember that you and the lizard man said these things back then. You killed the captain of CP0, can you tell me these things? Lu Chengkong asked the biggest question in his heart. It is said that the most terrifying enemies are not those who are unattainable, but those who are hidden in the dark and unknown. After all, the unknown is the most terrifying. There is no doubt that CP0, which has never appeared in the original work, is one of them. That's what you said. It's okay to tell you guys, eat it first. Portgas D. Dan picked up the items on the barbecue table and put them in front of Lu Chengkong and the others. Lu Chengkong and others didn't worry about the poison and ate it directly. Go on. After all, it is too easy to kill yourself and others with the strength of the other party, using poison. It's really embarrassing, isn't it? And she didn't need to use poison at all. Sure enough, it's still so delicious. What variety? Lu Chengkong sighed in admiration after eating and then didn't forget to ask. It's nothing, I just added a little life energy into it, and eating it is good for your life. As for the raw material, of course, it is the Sea King rye that was shot from the sea. Portgas D. Dan said directly without concealing it. Hearing this, Lu Chengkong and the others immediately closed their eyes and used life to return to feel their bodies. Except for Enel, Lackey, Canis, and Juliana, all of them would use life to return, and they all practiced to the full version. The level of the return of life, and it is getting more and more advanced, far from being comparable to the return of life used by the original CP9 and others. Original book, the return of life of CP9 can only be regarded as the return of life of an unfinished product, just like Lu Chengkong's first half-finished shaving. It is not even the return of life of the most basic level, and the return of life of Lu Chengkong and others has been practiced to the point of close to the master. Therefore, the difference between the two can only be described as the difference between heaven and earth. All aspects of the body's functions have been significantly improved. After a while, Lu Chengkong opened his eyes were full of joy. He never expected that a little life energy would have such a huge benefit. The light fruit is the same as the light fruit, which is the top fruit. Otherwise, do you think I'm going to kill you? This is a reward for you. It made me appreciate a good fight and made these days less boring. Portgas D. Dana said with a chuckle, and immediately gave Lu Chengkong and others explained. CPO is simply an existence beyond CP1 to CP9, which was jointly cultivated by Tenryubito and Gorosei, 5 elders. Of course, this does not mean all of them. For example, I only joined later, but 80% of the members they are all cultivated by them. As for the strength of the people inside, you can imagine. But you don't have to worry so much. This team is only under the orders of Tianlong and Gorosei, 5 elders, of course not the trash Tenryubito of Sabayati Archipelago, but the owner of the core such as Tenryubito, basically controlled by these people. Basically all it's to deal with some secret things. For example, you and Khalifa knew that Crocodile had information about Hades, which they inquired about. I knew it was them, so what level is their worst strength? Needless to say, the strongest one, it's you. Lu Chengkong hurriedly asked. His face was unprecedentedly solemn. Even the proud Enel's face darkened. The worst. Hee, of course Admiral level, but luckily there are very few people, so you don't have to worry. CPO people generally don't come out. They only come out when dealing with some big events. You have to face them, at least you have to reach the level of the 4 emperors. Basically, the 4 emperors now, as well as the dead Roger and the Golden Lion who escaped from prison have all faced the pursuit of this team, but it is also a good thing that you are prepared. Portgas D. Dana said some secrets with a smile, completely ignoring how shocking what she said was. 147 Lackey and Conus courtship. Grass. This CPO actually has the ability to chase down Roger, B. Whitebeard, and Golden Lion. It's too exaggerated, but think about it. How can someone jointly trained by Tenryubito and Gorose, 5 elders, be rubbish? Liu Chengkong was first. Actually, but even if he calmed down, he also accepted this fact. Can you control your heart, liver, spleen, lungs and kidneys after returning to your life? Suddenly, Portgas D. Dana asked. It's not that exaggerated. The heart is too sensitive and important. I don't have a complete grasp of it, but I don't dare to distribute my spiritual awareness there. If my heart doesn't beat or breaks down, it's too late even if Khalifa has the ability to save me. Now, the precision of these internal organs is only under the brain, so I don't dare to mess with it. Liu Chengkong shook his head with a wry smile and said, Ji Xian, who can return to the life that Liu Chengkong knows, is perfect for everything in the brain. Control, turned into a terrifying weapon, but it was obvious that Liu Chengkong had not yet reached this stage. Oh, but looking at your appearance, it's fast. When you have admiral-level strength and your mental strength improves again, then I think it's almost the same. Portgas D. Dana was slightly surprised. She also didn't expect Liu Chengkong's life. Returning has been cultivated to a state close to the internal organs such as the heart, liver, spleen, lung and kidney. Chengkong, my body is so hot, I don't know why, Just as Liu Chengkong was about to say something, Lackey and Conus said with their faces burning red. Khalifa. Liu Chengkong's face changed vivid, his eyes shot coldly at Portgas D. Dana on the side, and at the same time asked Khalifa on the side to check the bodies of the 2 girls. Their bodies are fine, it's just. Khalifa's face was a little rosy, he vomited, and he didn't say a word for a long time. Okay, don't be so nervous. If I wanted to kill you, you'd be dead long ago. The 2 of them are fine, it's just that I added something to them. He was staring at him, but said slowly. Could it be? Liu Chengkong looked at Portgas D. Dana's half-smile but suddenly seemed to understand. The cold light in his eyes had long since disappeared, replaced by embarrassment. Don't tell me, you don't know what these 2 women think about you. I said you were lustful but not courageous, but you are not. The 2 juice beauties of Gouda won't even do Hancock for your emperor. I miss you. The reason why I haven't done it is because I'm worried about their hearts and I don't want them to be unhappy, so I'll help you. Portgas D. Dana said with a look of, I'm good for you, and at the same time did not forget to pretend to be pitiful. He looked as if he had been greatly wronged. How can the 2 of them recover? Liu Chengkong secretly thought to himself, and he did not object to what Portgas D. Dana said. After getting along for a while, Conus is upright and generous, and treats others with humility. Lackey is firm on the outside and soft on the inside, strong and decisive. No matter what she does, she is serious and never lazy. She takes care of everyone here like a big sister. As long as she can do it, she will always rush to do it. And these 2 have their own characteristics. Without exception, they are all beautiful and flowery women who live together every day, facing each other day and night. In addition, the 2 women obviously have a good impression of themselves, and one of them is even more loved before coming. It is a lie that Liu Chengkong has not been tempted to live with these 2 women for so long, but Hancock and Khalifa are the first 2 women he has known since he came to this world, and he is also the first to enter his heart. Yes, so he really didn't want to make them unhappy because of this. Even if they allowed him to do it, he couldn't do it for a while. It just didn't occur to him that Portgas D. Dana had a kick in this matter. Liu Chengkong had a hunch in his heart that he couldn't escape today. They didn't take any medicine, it's just that I gave them a little control and stimulated their body senses in the life energy, so it's very easy to recover, just accept the 2 of them. Portgas D. Dana smiled complacently, as if she had done a very great thing. The sky can't be done. I'm hot. Lackey's face was peach red, his eyes were blurred, and Yuan Ji's flames rose in his watery eyes. Husband, Go ahead, we are not unhappy, because you have told us with actions and facts, no matter what your love for us will not change. Khalifa pushed the glasses above the bridge of his nose. His tone was very calm, without the usual jealous look. Khalifa fully showed her temperament and mind as Mrs. Jungshi at the critical moment. I'll settle the account with you later. Lu Chengkong left a vicious remark, then pulled up Kanis and Lackey, SUT, and asked Khalifa and Hancock to follow him. Why? It's very simple. Can two CHUNVs resist Lu Chengkong's fierce attack? Of course not, so in order not to fail, of course he had to bring two good wives, and Lu Chengkong felt a little guilty for them when this happened, and at the same time was very moved by the generosity of the two of them. Of course he had to be good. My condolences to both of them. Hey, don't think I don't know, you're absolutely proud of yourself right now. You want to settle accounts with me. I'm worried that you will thank me tomorrow. Nor did she continue her culinary career while sitting on a beach chair. Hey, since I don't have anything to do with me, I'm still cultivating. Yeah, the speed of progress is too fast, and if he has an admiral-level combat power, then the god is a shit. Enel turned into a thunderbolt without saying a word and returned to the ship to concentrate on practicing with closed eyes. Obviously, the previous battle between Lu Chengkong and Bartholomew Kuma deeply stimulated him. He knew very well that the gap between Lu Chengkong and him was gradually increasing. Lada, if he doesn't work hard, he will probably be left far behind. As the dignity and pride of God, he will never allow himself to be overtaken by others, even if that person is his captain. Chengkong, Dan, Donna is right. I have liked you for a long time. Can you, even if I don't be your temperament, just be a little woman behind you? Now, I don't fight with Khalifa and the others. Lackey, who was the most affectionate, heard Portgas D. Dana's words so emotionally. She also knew that this was a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, and immediately she was in her heart that had been repressed. Speak out. 148 One Dragon plays 2 Phoenix. Lackey is telling the truth. She is strong on the outside. In fact, everyone who knows her knows that she is a very gentle and weak person at heart. She used to fight Enel in Shandia and she had to get back the land. She became strong and restrained all the weakness in her heart, but in the days when she lived with Lu Chengkong and others on the pirate ship, she gradually removed the disguise. She wanted to protect herself, revealing her truest side. She just wanted to be with Lu Chengkong and others. When Chengkong is together, she doesn't care about her status at all. Me too. Kanis on one side is younger than Lackey, and her experience is not as deep as Lackey's, and although she also has feelings for Lu Chengkong, she has not yet reached the level of Lackey's unforgettable memory. In the face of such emergencies, for a young woman like her, she is more shy and afraid, and of course, she is looking forward to this upcoming event. Zongkong, don't worry about us. I know that every time you do that thing with us, you have to endure it. You can do whatever you want in the future. We really don't mind, we just hope that you will always remember it in your heart. The two of us. Boa Hancock and Khalifa looked at each other and said in unison. Don't worry, the two of you will always be my treasures. Lu Chengkong was moved now, but he also knew that this was not the time to say these things, because Lackey and Kanis looked more and more serious. Everyone was entangled in the left and right sides of Lu Chengkong's passing, while constantly dragging their clothes, and at the same time reaching out and pulling on Lu Chengkong's clothes. Chengkong had no choice but to take off his clothes at a speed exceeding the speed of light, so that the two women who were about to become him would be uncomfortable. Hancock and Khalifa threw Kanis and Lackey onto the bed under the shy gazes of Hancock and Khalifa. Looking at the two Kai Luo Snow White Utis on my body, one may look a little green due to age, but it is still exquisite and watery. The places that should be concave are concave and the places that should be convex are convex. They all give people a feeling of youth and pressing. Needless to say that the owner of this UT is Kanis. As for Lackey, she is about the same age as Khalifa, so her physical development has long been perfect. Coupled with the long-term battle, she gives people a mature beauty all over her body. She can't bear to see such two UT Lu Chengkong. The incarnation of the living became a beast, driving the giant dragon under the crotch to enter the body of the two women that had been prepared for a long time. Ah! Followed by a scream of satisfaction and joy, and not long after Lackey's satisfied Zhao Yin had replaced the scream of pain, a whimper that made people feel horny and kept coming from her little one. He spit it out from his mouth until Lackey couldn't bear Lu Chengkong's impact any longer. After he fell into a complacent state of contentment, Canis, who had endured very hard for a long time, actually threw himself at him and sat down directly from the top like a female knight. Well, it hurts. Is this what it's like to be a woman? Early. I knew I would take it slow. Canis was already a little confused because of the severe pain from his lower body, and Vivi suddenly cleared up and sobered up. The first sentence that came over was something that made people laugh and cry. I really didn't expect the usually innocent and quiet Canis to have such a funny side in bed. Following Lu Chengkong's comforting, Canis quickly got used to Lu Chengkong's size, and even the youngest she actually took the initiative to learn Lackey's way of twisting her waist and begging for joy, and then reported Lackey's footsteps to Canis because after the first POSHEN plus Lu Chengkong's amazing fighting power and size, he fell asleep with satisfaction. Lu Chengkong immediately stretched the claws of Lucian to the most mature Khalifa and Hancock, and soon the gasping sound and Shen chant that had stopped sounded again. Up! This time Yanfu is really not shallow, he is more powerful than him, but in other words, Chijiu's strength is really powerful, the size is also unprecedented, and it is good for women. If nothing else, at least he is still very happy to be his woman. There is only one person left on the beach. Portgas D. Dana's eyes are very complicated, as if her heart is all-encompassing, and even the best literati can't describe her feelings and thoughts clearly. Lu Chengkong, who was still fighting hard at this time, was absolutely proud to hear that. When Lu Chengkong and others came out of the pirate ship, they realized that it was already night before they knew it. Looking around, they found that there was a Li Ying standing on the beach. It was just Portgas D. Dana who looked at this time. It seems that she has lost her usual high-spirited spirit. Instead, it seems like an inexhaustible history book, giving people a feeling of desolation in autumn, alone, and extremely lonely, as if she was isolated by the whole world. There seems to be a person with a story behind this woman. Wait, the surname Portgas seems to be a bit familiar. Isn't Ace's mother also surnamed Portgas? Why is she also this name? Does she have something to do with Portgas de Rouge? Can't you do it? Lu Chengkong looked at him and fell into his inner world for a while. His mind was full of his own thoughts. Even Portgas D. Dana, who was standing there motionless, didn't even notice when he came to him. Hey, I'm back. Knowing Portgas D. Dana stretched out her hand and shook it in front of him, and at the same time shouted before she came back to her senses, "What are you thinking, kid? Don't you know that a beautiful woman is placed in front of him and ignores her? Is it a very bad thing?" It's nothing, I was just thinking about CP0. Okay, let's not talk about that. It's so late, why are you still not sleeping? Lu Chengkong asked without changing the subject. Hey, someone and his wives make such a loud noise, how can you tell me to sleep? Women don't get enough sleep, but it's taboo, how do you want to compensate me? A very pitiful expression that you are about to make amends for me made Lu Chengkong speechless. He always felt that this meeting with a queen-like woman like Hancock seemed to have undergone great changes. At least she was more approachable than before, and she did not those words that used to treat you as a toy or something were scraped on the lips. Whatever you want with your strength, you can't get it at your fingertips. Your devil fruit is the legendary top logia. Hockey, you are conqueror hockey. If you have physical skills, I will teach you. If you wave your hand, you will have a lot of money. What do you say I can give you? It should be what you give me, right? Didn't you say you were my master before? Then your master did not give me the apprenticeship gift, and now I just made it up. 149 Supreme Sword. It's really a wild goose plucking hairs. I got the true inheritance of my teacher and now I come to extort my teacher. Hey, this apprentice is really a teacher. Portgas D. Dana shook her head and sighed, looking like a church apprentice starved to death. Shibo. I didn't say these words before I knew it, and now I'm at a disadvantage. Portgas D. Dana said in a distressed tone, but the next moment she really had a small treasury just like Lu Chengkong said, think about it. It was also Lu Chengkong who made a fortune in CP9 when he was a child, not to mention the strength of the four emperors, and was in the mysterious Portgas D. Dana of the CPO. You have eaten the devil fruit again. Even if I gave it to you, you will use it, not to mention that your fruit ability will become more perverted as your strength increases. I now understand why that woman values you. It turns out that you ate the devil fruit she was looking for. Portgas D. Dana said. You finally know, I've escaped death. Hearing this, Lu Chengkong couldn't help but see a picture from many years ago in his mind. His curiosity arose at the same time, and he even asked Portgas D. Dana. The matter of taking gifts is temporarily suppressed. Who is that woman? Can you tell me how strong she is? Now that you know about these things, it may not be a good thing for you. If you don't have the same strength, you can easily kill yourself. Portgas D. Dana glanced at Lu Chengkong with a deep meaning BV's warning appeared inside, apparently telling Lu Chengkong not to ask more. Forget it, anyway, as long as my strength goes up, that woman will definitely come to me, so what about my gift? Lu Chengkong felt a little lost, but he didn't expect to be able to flirt with her identity. Lu Chengkong only guessed that she was Tenryubito, and the others were unknown. I'm really careful, remember, I still have some things, but you don't seem to need them, right? If you use a sword, then I can get you a supreme sword, but it's a pity that you are a cultivator. Skilled, Portgas D. Dana said in an astonishing tone. What, the highest level famous sword? Do you have the supremely sharp sword? Lu Chengkong would be lying if he wanted to say that he didn't eat it. The lowest level famous sword had already exceeded 1 million, and it was even worse in the chaotic era of the Great Pirate. Even if you have money, you can't buy it, there is no market for it, and it will be better in the future, but whether it is now, in the past or in the future original, the supreme sword is extremely rare, and there are many devil fruits. It can be found, but how many people can have the supreme sword? A total of 12, very rare and precious. What's wrong? Yes, but it doesn't seem to be your business, right? Are you planning to give up physical skills to focus on kendo? Cut, I only believe in my own body. I don't want to rely on external forces. Although the swordsmanship is very powerful, even if I lose the strength of the weapon, I still rely on the weapon to a certain extent. I don't want to do that. Lu Chengkong waved his hand and quickly clarified. Then why are you so happy? Oh, I understand, you fell in love with Juliana and wanted to pursue her with the supreme sword. With such a good relationship between you and her, plus the swordsman's dream, you must be able to capture her body and mind. Wow, I didn't know that someone was still unable to endure because of Khalifa and Hancock. How can you be so proactive now? Portgas D. Dana's face I know what you think expression, and then said with a chuckle. Che, am I as evil as you said? I just want Gulena to have one more trump card, so that I can have greater confidence in challenging Hawkeye in the future. Lu Chengkong pretended to be high-spirited and said, in fact, he was a little ashamed, because Khalifa and Hancock had already told him in bed this morning, as long as Lu Chengkong liked it in the future. At the same time, the woman was recognized by them. After passing the test, they would definitely accept it. After all, Lu Chengkong had always endured his lust for them, but it moved them very much. I'm too lazy to care about you. If it wasn't for those two women who were pleasing to the eye, I would be too lazy to care about your affairs, and I was almost misunderstood. Hey, others will forget me as a benefactor and teacher. Dana's voice was full of grief, as if she was being treated badly. Okay, thank you for your help, can't you? Lu Chengkong was a little speechless. When did Portgas D. Dana become so preoccupied with her? It was very incompatible with her noble and graceful temperament. What else? Portgas D. Dana was obviously still very dissatisfied, with a pair of extremely agile eyes that seemed to be able to speak, staring at Lu Chengkong and slashing, as if he would never give up. No more, Lu Chengkong said blankly, although he was a little sorry in his heart, but if he did it again, he would do the same. After all, Portgas D. Dana was a mystery to him. Why did he come here? He didn't know what purpose he was holding, so he would definitely do this in such a situation. If Portgas D. Dana didn't give him a reasonable explanation at that time, he would definitely do it. HMPH, you need face, the supreme sword. It's not that you can't slap you, but you have to get it yourself. Portgas D. Dana rolled her eyes and pouted, but she didn't pursue it anymore. After all, at that time Lu Chengkong, the performance of Lu Chengkong is also human nature. If Lu Chengkong was afraid of her strength at that time and regarded it as nothing, she would look down on him. Now, instead of being angry, he appreciates Lu Chengkong even more. Didn't you put it away by yourself? What's the difference between you picking it up and me picking it up? Lu Chengkong asked in confusion. There is a supreme sword, but I didn't take it away. There are people guarding it, and it's useless to me. Why should I take it away? It's more troublesome to carry a knife by my side, or it's better to be free alone. It doesn't make you feel comfortable. Portgas D. Dana's bearing made Lu Chengkong very admired. After all, as long as you are not an idiot, you can know the value of the supreme knife. If nothing else, just use this knife. It can definitely win over an eagle-eyed powerhouse, and it is even more attractive to the swordsman. Now she actually regards this kind of weapon as dung. Okay, then take me there. Lu Chengkong doesn't mind either. After all, he is really not used to getting something for nothing, because he believes that there is no free lunch in this world, and the last thing he doesn't believe is that there is something cheap to take advantage of. There is often a conspiracy behind these cheap things. After all, he still remembers the saying that if things are abnormal, it will be a demon. Knowing the location of the supreme sword is already the greatest help to him. Just like when he ate the fruit of the mysterious girl, he admitted his own psychology and began to owe him a huge favor. If there was no mysterious girl, Lu Chengkong and Kappa would have died and could no longer die. Also, it's just that he has to wait for his strength to become stronger before he has the qualifications and ability to pay it back. 150 Kizaru's wretched mind. Where? Lu Chengkong hurriedly asked Portgas D the exact location of Dana's knife after learning that there was a great knife. Aren't you going to Sabayati Archipelago now? Just follow this route, and I will tell you when the time comes. Suddenly, Portgas D Dana showed a sly smile, and Lu Chengkong instinctively hit a chill, as if he will be calculated by Portgas D Dana again. After a night of silence, after waking up the next day, Lu Chengkong and others immediately set off for Sabayati Archipelago, but the happy pirates, who had already started sailing at high speed, didn't even know that they were chasing him from a distant place. The two marines with the highest combat power on a huge ship made a quarrel like a shrew scolding the streets. Kizaru, how can you be so afraid of death as an admiral, and now you are not asking you to die, but only asking you to haunt them and slow down their sailing speed, not for you to confront them head on. You are like this, it's a shame for Marine, you don't deserve to be an admiral at all. Akainu said with a serious face. That's nice, why didn't you come to pester them? Although the old man can move at the speed of light, don't forget that the whole group of them are perverts. Let's not talk about the woman on the same level as Garp, just the confirmed members are all perverts. There is an admiral level combat power, 2 are infinitely close to admiral, and the last 2 are only slightly worse than the admiral level combat power. If it's someone else, it's okay to say that my glint fruit is just a branch of her fruit of light. Even if my strength is stronger than his, my ability will definitely be suppressed in front of him. Losing the speed of light, being surrounded and beaten, I am not dead and can no longer die. Kizaru is worthy of being a superhero, but he won't fight with his old life until he is absolutely safe. In his words, the old man had already fought enough when he was young, but now that he is old, he doesn't want to die so fast. Enjoy a few more years of life as king. Bastard, can't you hang them from a distance to attack their ships? It's not that you want to face them head on. You have so many long-range attack capabilities, and are you afraid of a new pirate group? The speed of their 2 ships is yours. It's not that I don't know, it's just faster than Admiral's ships, and the distance between the 2 sides is so far, how to chase? You can't catch up to the new world if you don't drag it or chase it. Akainu thought of the time. Maybe they lost their whereabouts or couldn't catch up. Thinking of the promise that he had sworn in front of Sengoku before, his heart became irritated. Che, since it's not a matter of time to catch up sooner or later, then I don't need the old man to find them. Didn't you see that Garp, the initiator of this incident, was still sitting there so calmly? He must have a comprehensive plan. In the new world, he hunted down One Piece, king of pirates, and he knows more about the waters there, weather changes, etc. Then you know, why are you angry? Kizaru knew that he had to pull a strong man on his side at this time, so he didn't forget to pat Garp's flattery, but it was a pity that Garp was already asleep at this time, and he didn't hear Kizaru's flattery at all. Speaking of boats, the boat that Liu Chengkong originally owned was the Boa Hancock, which is the best boat on Nine Snake Island. At present, the navigation technology of Nine Snake Island is ahead of the entire One Piece, King of Pirates world, and it will be worn in a year or two. Marine headquarters and iceberg shipbuilding in the water capital have surpassed it, but it is still the fastest. Originally, the speed was slightly faster than Admiral's ships, but now it has added Enel's flight technology design, and then Lackey's invention and transformation, and added the latest functions such as jets. However, it is far more than Marine Admiral's ships, so it is definitely not an easy task for them to catch up with Liu Chengkong and others at normal speed, not to mention that the distance between the two sides is so far apart. HMPH, it's not me who will be embarrassed at that time. I'll see how you explain to Sengoku. Akainu is not stupid either, he's just short-tempered and impulsive, and it's not all idiots that he can sit in Admiral's seat, but often when he encounters a problem, his impulse and temper are to let him solve it directly with strength, and after the solution, he will use his brain. So many times he seems to others to have no brain, but it is not. When did this bastard become so smart? Although I have no guarantee, but it is really bad if you fail, and the most humiliating thing is not the defeat, but the marine headquarters of a big promise can't catch up with a pirate group, then that's what's shameful and thrown home. With this idea, Kizaru had to think carefully now, but when he saw Garp's heartless sleep, he calmed down instantly. Yes, this is what Garp jumped up to. Although this guy is usually not serious, but once he gets serious, he is definitely not joking, but he is very affectionate that Garp, who got serious at the beginning, almost pushed One Piece King of Pirates Roger into a corner many times, because he was with Garp at that time. Chasing Roger, so he can see these details clearly, on the surface careless, it is absolutely no trivial matter to be serious. With this thought in mind, Kizaru didn't get nervous or pursued, so the time passed quietly between the pursuit, and Liu Chengkong and others also approached Sabayati Archipelago. Okay, here it is, the small island in front. Portgas D. Dana said with a twinkle in her eyes as she looked at the seemingly ordinary island in front of her. There, it's quite ordinary, but think about the fact that these islands are almost surrounded by the Great Waterway. Who would have thought that such an ordinary island would have such a supreme knife? Liu Chengkong immediately let Hancock drove the boat forward. Juliana, I have a gift for you later, I hope you won't be too happy then. Liu Chengkong didn't realize that since Khalifa and Boa Hancock spoke their hearts out last time, they didn't mind Liu Chengkong looking for him at all. After the woman, the harem fire in his heart immediately burned all the cages that bound it. A lot of times, instead of being secretive as before, I let it go completely, chase after it if you like it, and own it if you want it. In his words, no matter how many women he has, Khalifa and Hancock are always the most important. As long as his love for them never changes, it is enough for them. Overjoyed. Che, what else could make me overjoyed with my state of mind? Juliana obviously didn't believe it, but she was a little looking forward to it. She was also watching the changes in Liu Chengkong these days. There was no one there. They kept teasing and teasing her, intentionally or unintentionally. Obviously Liu Chengkong liked her, but because he was worried about Hancock and Khalifa, he never made a move. Now he finally made a move. I don't know why Gu. Not only was Liana not angry about this, but her heart that had been silent for a long time actually jumped up. 151 Beast Swordsman. You'll know when the time comes. Lu Chengkong pretended to be mysterious, completely ignoring Portga's joking gaze. Humph. Juliana wrinkled Xiao Chong's nose in dissatisfaction when she saw that Lu Chengkong had actually aroused her curiosity, but she didn't say anything. At this moment, she showed a very rare little woman's attitude that made her Lu Chengkong's heart swayed. There is a strong man on the island, and his strength is no worse than Gulena. Enel opened his eyes before approaching the island. His eyes were full of surprise. Obviously he did not expect such an ordinary island. There is actually such a strong person, and at the same time, he is also glad that he did not go to the infinite land, but did not go to the blue sea, otherwise he would only be a god who sits and watches the sky until now. Is this the surprise you gave me? Gulena asked with a puzzled look. It doesn't seem like a good gift. Khalifa and other women who don't know the inside story are also curious. Lackey and Kanis, who are new wives because of doubt, and Vivi's frowning brows exudes a different aura than before. Of course not, you'll find out when you wait. Lu Chengkong actually had no idea in his heart, who knew if Portgas Dana would play by herself. If there was nothing at that time, then it would be a real shame. So Lu Chengkong, with this idea in mind, moved towards the small island going, which was getting closer and closer, and arrived at the shore of the small island within 5 minutes at the speed of the boat of the happy pirates. For safety's sake, this time is the same as before. No one stayed on the boat, and Lackey was even more ready to go. He carried many weapons that were very convenient to carry. There were 2 gun holsters on the left and right sides of the 2 slender and round legs. Obviously, they were placed on some pistol-type weapons. The power is even greater than that of a cannon. Mad, someone has come to get your sword. Portgas Dana saw Lu Chengkong's look at her. She also knew that Lu Chengkong was a little nervous, so she stopped playing with him, and shouted out loud. It's not big, but it can spread all over the island. Who's going to take my sword? A roar like a roar of a beast sounded from the depths of the island, and after a while the smoke billowed, but it was accompanied by a middle-aged man in animal skin. With a knife on his waist, he appeared on the realization of Lu Chengkong and others. Sure enough, you are the woman. Hey, it's a pity that you are not a swordsman, otherwise the supreme block knife with your strength is definitely worthy of you. The beast man sighed after seeing Portgas D's appearance. With a bang, if people outside hear it, it will definitely scare people to death. Why does the supreme sharp sword seem to be something bad in his hands, and he wants to send it out quickly, which is actually the case. Basically it is a famous sword. The more advanced famous swords have their own characteristics or spirituality. For example, the 3 generations of ghost swords, the swordsmen who had ghost swords before all died unexpectedly. In the weapons store in Logatown, after Zoro learned that this was a demon sword, it's still up to your own luck to try and win to master it. This is only the 3rd generation of ghosts, but the lowest level quick sword is just a good quick sword. They already have such spirituality and test their masters, let alone the supreme quick sword. Juliana stared at Lu Chengkong in disbelief. She was not an idiot. At this time, she didn't know where Lu Chengkong said that the gift he wanted to give her was the supreme sword. All swordsmen dreamed of it. The coveted famous knife. In addition to shock, disbelief, and joy in her heart, she was moved, and there was a touch of sweetness. I'm not a swordsman, it's useless for you to send me, it's just a hassle, it's really inconvenient to carry one, it's better not to, but this time there is an excellent swordsman here, and I want to challenge Hawkeye to replace him as the world. The woman with the strongest swordsman. Portgas Dana's words almost made the beast man pass out. This is the most precious weapon. It is actually a trouble in Portgas Dana's hands. It is really worth to scare a lot of people to death if it spreads out. Woman. Before I met you before, I still really didn't believe that a woman could become a strong man, let alone the strongest swordsman, but it seems that I really sit in the sky and underestimate the world's women, so I can make you say that they are excellent. The female swordsman. Let me see. The beast man's eyes were really like a wild beast, and a sharp, like an unsheathed sword, shrouded Gulena, who held the words Rachel and Yoshioka in his hand. Juliana's strength is no joke. There are so many strong people around her. Under the fierce and healthy competition, her strength has improved by leaps and bounds. Her strength is only under the big swordsman. It can be said that it is only a thin line. You can enter the level of a great swordsman, especially when you often fight against Logia's capable people. Enel, Khalifa, her vision. Kendo is more powerful and much broader, facing the same swordsman, and the strength is not worse than her own. How could she show weakness with the momentum of people? Okay, just with this momentum, there is no retreat. You have the right to say what you want to challenge the world's great swordsman, but it's not my decision to get the supreme sword. Come with me. The light of admiration flashed in the beast man's eyes, and then he put away the momentum on his body and turned to leave. Lu Chengkong and others quickly followed. With a beast man as a tour guide, on this small island with 9 bends and 13 bends that looks very ordinary on the outside, it is almost like going home. There is no need to worry about getting lost, and soon it is at the core of the island. Place. What's the matter? There seems to be an incomparably evil aura in the air, and it gives people an incomparable sharpness, as if it can chop everything. Although Lu Chengkong was not a swordsman, he was immediately aware of the changes in the air. It was captured, and the eyes quietly turned into 2 small black holes, as dark as ink, as if all the light nearby was sucked in, and an evil, violent aura and the evil coming from the front suddenly erupted. Meaning, the sharp and imposing pair meet. Is this still a human? How could human beings have such a violent, evil, aura that seems to destroy everything? It is like a black hole that attracts all matter. Once attracted, it will be absorbed and destroyed by him. Beastman immediately turned around and looked at the master of this momentum. His eyes were full of disbelief, obviously not believing that humans would have such a momentum. Sure enough, that woman not only ate her fruit, but also saw his extraordinariness. Portgas D. Dana's eyes rolled, a flash of understanding flashed in her eyes. 152 Village Jung. What is that? After seeing Lu Chengkong release his own aura, the others also released their own aura, rebounding all the evil aura in the air, and soon the group arrived. At the very center of the island, the entrance is a small circular pond with a stone protruding from the center, and on top of the stone is a sword. The source of the incomparably evil aura in the air is that one. Knife. The momentum is uncontrollable, and it is a knife without a master. Lu Chengkong had already judged that this knife was absolutely unowned at first glance when he saw it, because as far as he knew Hawkeye's supremely fast knife is completely controlled by Hawkeye, so as long as Hawkeye likes it, that knife will not release any breath at all, but it looks like the most ordinary knife, but this one in front of it. A sword that looks staggered, but gives a quaint, chilling, evil, and sharp feeling is obviously not the case. This is still the evil sword, Muramasa, a supreme sword of the same level as the first ghost, and it is also one of the 12 workers of the greatest business. Gulina's eyes seemed to be fixed when she saw this weapon. The demon was tightly controlled, and his eyes focused on this weapon. In fact, it is not only Juliana, but also the beast man beside him. As long as it is a swordsman, the real swordsman sees this weapon. Weapons will show this reaction expression. That's right, this is the saber that my teacher used to have. He was going to pass it on to me back then, but unfortunately I can't control this saber at all with my strength. In the end, he died in the hands of this knife. The beast man's eyes were surprisingly not greedy, and he obviously knew what would happen to him if he took this knife. That's why the master asked me to stay here before he died, waiting for someone to come and take a knife. I hope you won't let me down. HMPH, even if you are a famous knife, you still need a master to master it. A knife is a knife. Even if you have spirituality, your destiny can only be to become my weapon and help me to reach the peak. Juliana didn't have the usual condescension, but said very seriously, the momentum on her body seemed to be infected by the village masa, and there was a smell of evil. Wait, just as the imposing Juliana was about to step forward to draw the knife, Lu Chengkong suddenly stopped Juliana. I have a feeling that this knife seems to be of any help to me, and it should be the reason for the devil's blood. Then what are you going to do? Everyone was serious when they heard Lu Chengkong's words. After all, Lu Chengkong's peculiar hockey and they were very affectionate. Now that they heard the source of this hockey, the blood of the devil actually reacted to them, too. Get curious. Wait a minute, this knife doesn't have an owner yet, so he's showing his sharp edge now. This way should help me, the devilish hockey kai. Lu Chengkong thought with a thought, and with a wave that was countless times stronger than before the extremely powerful violent, ancient aura erupted from his body, and swept away towards the village like a storm. Boom! Chi-chi! The two invisible auras collided fiercely in midair, and then fought against each other as if water and fire were incompatible. A harsh roar continued to sound, but a knife is a knife after all, and even the highest level famous knife is not a living person after all. It is not as exaggerated as a comprehension novel. At most, it has the spirituality to test the strength and potential of its master, etc. So after a stalemate for a moment, Lu Chengkong's demonic hockey has been stubbornly exuding Muramasa. The momentum was all suppressed. This is. Haha, that's right, my demonic hockey really still has hidden power, but it has always lacked a kind of stimulation. Now, although Muramasa's aura is not as strong as mine, to a large extent one is sharp. Evil intent, one is violent, full of destructive aura, both tend to be dark side, they are all close, although the level is far apart, but the hidden ability finally came out. Not only that, it seems that my demon color hockey assimilated just like Muramasa's advantages, he has a feeling of being as sharp as a knife and showing off his edge. Lu Chengkong closed his eyes involuntarily, as if some information appeared out of thin air in his brain. Lu Chengkong opened his eyes again in an instant, his eyes were full of joy and there was a hint of such a look. I didn't expect that the devil-colored hockey actually has this effect. It is actually an assimilation, which absorbs the momentum and breath of all negative attributes, and even awakens a new ability. What's wrong, husband? Khalifa saw Lu Chengkong in a daze, they're actually familiar with the new ability, and couldn't help but gently pushed her. It's alright, it's just a big gain. I'll tell you later, it's alright, Juliana, let's go. Lu Chengkong, who had recovered, found that Khalifa looked at him with worried and concerned eyes, and stretched out his hand to hold Khalifa's Yusho seems to be able to tell her that she is absolutely fine through this. Yeah, Juliana wanted to rush over immediately, but because of Lu Chengkong's words, she kept holding on to the touch in her heart. Now, after hearing Lu Chengkong's words, she immediately rushed over and came to Mujung. Without any hesitation, he pulled up Muramasa decisively. If he was a beast man, it would not exist. It seemed that this was a docile knife, not a knife that would retaliate if he couldn't control it. He knew that he was likely to die, but he still maintains the swordsmanship in his heart, and he continues to move forward, and this courage alone makes the beast man feel inferior. From the current point of view, Muramasa should be regarded as admitting him. It should be her potential and her goal, but if she can't fulfill the promise she made when she picked up Muramasa in the future, she will be backlashed. The price of the backlash is exactly the same as that of the original Onito. When the beast man saw that Gulena picked up Muramasa, not only did he not lose Muramasa's loss, but he was relieved. In order to fulfill his master's last wish, the filial piety of living alone on such an isolated island for so long has been recognized by those present. I think I can do it, because I am Juliana. Juliana was not only not timid or afraid, but said confidently. At the same time, the village in her hand seemed to feel Juliana's determination. Quaint, the chilling blade trembled slightly, and made a sound of a knife, as if to identify with the new master of Juliana. 153 Glenna's courage. Haha, I'm finally leaving, I can finally leave this island, but before that, I hope you have a fight with me, and let me see the strength of the person who has been recognized by Muramasa. Laughing loudly, it is impossible for people who have not experienced it to understand his mood at this time. For the last wish of Shibo, he was willing to wait here for so many years. It can be said that the most precious youth has been paid. This kind of person is his own. The strength is low, but this heart is enough. That's what I mean. Juliana's eyes were full of fighting intent. Although there are many masters on the pirate ship who can learn from each other every day, but after all, they are not swordsmen. The swordsman's favorite battle is to defeat the swordsman who is stronger than himself. This is their way of fighting. Of course, if it is an enemy, it will also be defeated, but Janao likes to fight a little more with those who use swords. Muramasa, you have sealed the evil spirits. Today is your sword, although my strength may not be as good as your previous master, and the blood I drink is not as strong as the enemy of the previous master, but it won't be long before I will definitely surpass your previous generation master and become the strongest swordsman, and today will be the first. Juliana said softly, looking at Muramasa, who was extremely sharp in her hand. Juliana's eyes actually appeared. A sharp light, as if at this moment she is Muramasa, and Muramasa is her. Aren't people and swords one? The beast man's face became heavy in an instant. He didn't expect that Juliana would actually reach the point where people and swords were unified after picking up the village chief. This is no longer the reason for the weapon. It is the cultivation of kendo. Daichi Ryu ghost cut. Gulena shot when she said it, and if she didn't, it was her own. As soon as she shot, the usually naughty Juliana changed immediately. If you say that he is a dusty scabbard for a long time if the sword was trapped, then Juliana at this time was a sharp-edged 3-foot green peak. With the same sharp-edged and sharp-edged Muramasa in her hands, the momentum on her body rose steadily, and she was actually more powerful than before. It seems that Juliana's kendo body and mind have been mysteriously baptized in an instant, and the kendo road has once again been broken through. What? You actually broke through? The beast man was shocked. He only felt that the person in front of him was no longer a charming and beautiful girl, but a vicious devil. He opened his bloodthirsty fangs and attacked him. Shake up. He is defeated, and his aura has been overwhelmed by Gulena. Khalifa stroked the golden hair that fell from her forehead, exuding a mature, sexy, charming and moving aura between her movements, but her body gave humans have a feeling of incomparable holiness and inviolability, but two extremely contradictory temperaments are perfectly blended together, and there is nothing unnatural. Oops, hungry wolf erosion. As the person locked by Juliana, the beast man immediately knew that his mind had fallen. If he couldn't resist Juliana's edge, he would definitely lose, but he has also lost all these years. It's not in vain. I have been guarding here for many years. Every day I keep a low profile and keep a low profile. I am a companion with the village, and I am a friend with nature. He seems to be transformed into all animals in nature. He represents lions, tigers, goshawks, and lions. He is obviously like a hungry wolf. The general attack has the advantages of all animals of nature. It's useless, my swordsmanship, when you cut down everything that blocks my steps, when you go forward, never back down, you are strong, I am stronger than you. Juliana seemed to have fallen into a state of epiphany. His momentum became more and more fierce and sharp, and the village in his hand took out a dazzling knife light on the road of rushing forward, as if to cut through the space and cut through all restraints. Click. The two knives collided, except for the fierce fire, but after a stalemate, the weapon in the hands of the beast man was cut off by the brave and unstoppable Juliana, and at the same time, a huge arrow appeared on the beast man's chest. Wounds, blood spilled. Very, very good, now you already have the cultivation of a quasi-big swordsman. I didn't expect that you won't develop a dependence on Mujung, but instead use Mujung to make your kendo better. It's better. The beast man didn't care about the wound on his body at all, as if the blood was not his own, picked up the broken knife in his hand and left without any nostalgia. As soon as the beast man left, Juliana immediately withdrew the knife. The whole person seemed to have been drained of strength in an instant, and the whole person sat down on the ground, but the firmness in his eyes never disappeared. It's a pity, is this a chance? If your breakthrough this time is not Muramasa, but your own perception, you may be a great swordsman now, although your perception plays a leading role in this breakthrough. But Muramasa's help is also indispensable, although it is very little, but after all, it has used external force. Portgas D. Dana shook his head and sighed. His face was full of regret. After all, witnessing the birth of a great swordsman is also very exciting. It's a pity that in the end, Giuliana was still one step behind, but only got the cultivation of the quasi-big swordsman, that is, the pseudo-big swordsman. Hee, it's not a pity, it's a chance. How can it be so easy to control? But I only believe that with my hard work and my dedication, so these are random, but this time the harvest is really big. Giuliana is much more free and easy. Compared with her, she is more inclined to the side of herself that has not broken through to the great swordsman, because she wants to rely on her own hands and her own efforts to be a great swordsman, not by relying on her own efforts. If the external force is forcibly promoted, then it is not obtained by herself at all, it is boring, and it is not comparable to the real great swordsman, so the current situation is the best ending for her. I thought you were blinded by the superficial imagination in front of you, but luckily you didn't let me down. Portgas de Dana's eyes flashed with satisfaction. The owner of this sword once saved me, so I don't want the new owner of her weapon to shame her. By the way, I forgot to tell you that the former owner of this sword has the cultivation of the peak of the great swordsman, and she's still a woman, but unfortunately she's dead. It doesn't matter to me anymore. Whether she is a woman or not is because of me. Even if the world is destined for women to not be the strongest swordsman, I will not give up. This is my pursuit, my goal. Just believing that others can't do it doesn't mean I can't do it. I will definitely surpass her, surpass all swordsmen and become the strongest swordsman. I will let the world know and let Muramasa know, and I will be my weapon because I am fortunate. And proud, not that I am proud of having Muramasa become a great swordsman. Quote. The firmness of Giuliana's tone could not be shaken even if the sky was torn apart, so Portgas de Dana, who was standing on the side, nodded in appreciation, secretly thinking that she did not choose the wrong person. 154 A Kainu of Tragedy. Damn pirates, actually made us go around in a big circle. Akainu said with a very unhappy face. He did not expect that the pursuit of himself and others would turn into a superfluous existence. Sengoku's phone call has not been passed. The other party actually went to Sabayati Archipelago, which made them useless. If they didn't pursue it, it would be better if Lu Chengkong and the others came to Sabayati Archipelago and set off. A large circle returned to almost where it started. However, this result is also due to the fact that the Great Channel has 7 paths. Who knows if they will stagger if they do not pursue this way. After all, the sea area is too large. At the beginning, they were also worried that Lu Chengkong and others would change their paths halfway, so this is the case. After all, they were not sure if Portgas de Dana belonged to their group. After all, that woman knew a lot about marine, but now it seemed that the other party obviously didn't know the pursuit of her and others, and she did a lot of useless work. It's not that someone is impatient and unwilling to wait for a few days. If you are sitting in the Marine headquarters, there are instruments from the Mad Doctor Marine headquarters to monitor them. Where do we need to sit here and make a big circle? Kizaru saw this rare opportunity, of course will not miss the opportunity to ridicule Akainu. Akainu's face became even more ugly, but this time it was indeed his mishandling. After all, the world of One Piece, King of Pirates, is too big, and even the same route may not be able to meet in the sea. If they wait a few more days at the Marine headquarters, they can determine the route of Lu Chengkong and others. Know that they were in the Sabayati Archipelago, and it would take a few hours to arrive, but now it is because of his impatience, even the location, the direction and the place to go without knowing where to go, which will lead to this situation. So he is duty-bound, and because of this, he could only snort and say nothing in the face of Kizaru's ridicule. Hey, Zhang is still old and hot. I already knew that they must go through Sabayati Archipelago as early as when you set off. I just won't tell you this idiot, who told you to stay in the Marine headquarters in the world and not go. The Great Channel, I don't even know this bit of common sense. Anyway, the old man has no guarantee, and it will not be me who will be unlucky. Quote. Kizaru smirked a little when Akainu couldn't see it, but what Kizaru didn't know was that Garp's eyelids, Vivi, who had been snoring when he smirked, opened, but it returned to its original state in an instant, obviously all of this it all fell into Caxi's eyes. Is this the Sabayati archipelago? Of course, we only came here once, and we said goodbye in a hurry, and we didn't have time to see everything in Qingchu. Khalifa looked at the bubbles flying all over the sky and looked around. After all, there are so many interesting things about the Great Fairway. Let's walk around. I have nothing to do anyway, and I have to code it, so if you like it, walk around. By the way, Enel, your observation hockey monitors this place. There are 2 hidden powerhouses here, and they are definitely at their peak. It is the existence of the 4 emperors, but it may only be around Admiral now. If you meet someone who needs to kneel, you will be disabled. Lu Chengkong knows that Enel does not know what is going on here, so of course the person who is disabled is Tenryubito. Dare to make this god kneel, this kind of person doesn't seem to be born yet. Enel reached out and took out an apple from the small bag behind his back, and said confidently, obviously this guy's strength is also getting stronger, the original work he is just a pure ability person. If he loses the ability of Guro Guro no Mi, Rumble Rumble Fruit, he will be at a loss, but now he has improved in all directions. This guy is exceptionally talented, hard-working, and willing to work hard. It will be a matter of time to improve. After all, in his original work, he can develop the fruit ability to the admiral level without a strong opponent, which shows how high his talent is. Let's go. Lu Chengkong chuckled lightly, and didn't care about Enel's words. If he hadn't owed the mysterious girl a favor, Tenryubito would have been beaten to death instead of being maimed. Where are we going? Canis was curious about everything about East Blue. After understanding some things about Sabayati archipelago under Khalifa's explanation, his eyes were full of curiosity. He looked around and looked very cute. Maybe the whole ship was also it is that Canis still maintains the innocence like a child. Of course, Khalifa and other girls will often show the side of the youngest daughter when facing Lu Chengkong alone. Let's take a tour at will. I think you are very boring at sea for a long time. You can play whatever you want, buy whatever you want, don't let your heart have any regrets. Lu Chengkong said very boldly. Why? Because there is too much money, not to mention the wealth they obtained from CP9 alone is already 5.6 billion berry, plus the going brought from Sky Island, except for Enel's ship, all the others are sold. It is also a huge fortune. Yeah, long live my husband. Canis, who was the youngest and least experienced, immediately kissed Lu Chengkong's face happily when he heard Lu Chengkong's words, then pulled Hancock with his left hand and Lackey with his right hand, his eyes beckoning Khalifa to follow. Go, Khalifa, enjoy the life between you women, you have worked so hard for so many years. Lu Chengkong kissed Khalifa's cherry lips and motioned her to go over. Khalifa's eyes flashed with tears, and he shook it forcefully. He shook his head, indicating that he was fine, as it should be, and then Vivi Isho followed them to some women's monopoly under Lu Chengkong's Hancock's persuasion and Canis's pleading gaze. Following me for so long, I think you should come out too. Lu Chengkong turned around and looked at the corner of the wall. A burly middle-aged man walked out from inside, his eyes full of greed. Looking at Lu Chengkong, don't get it wrong, he only showed this look because of Lu Chengkong's worth. The bounty hunter who has hunted down many powerful pirates in the Great Waterway, Joseph, is your target me this time. Hang me from a distance, dare to come out after I let them go, is it because you are not confident in yourself? Lu Chengkong still understands things in the New World very well. He is not a bull like Luffy. 13 He is rampant without knowing anything. In the New World, the power of pirates is so powerful, so there are some bounties. The hunters are also extremely powerful, but they don't like being bound so they didn't join Mei Jun. The same can be said. Joseph was obviously directly speaking out of his mind, so his face was a little bit overwhelmed, but in the end he directly admitted it. 155 times the fruit. Then I'm left alone now, so come on, don't worry, I'll never let anyone help me for a challenge that's just one person. What's more, the challenger's strength is so weak. Lu Chengkong was a little unhappy. So speaking is also very rude, very simple, it is difficult to be able to accompany his woman well and make up for the guilt in his heart, but there is such a person to destroy it, can he feel good? Really, many people say the same thing, but I took off the heads of those people. I hope you won't follow their footsteps. Joseph said in a gloomy tone, completely ignoring the existence of the people around him. All of a sudden he rushed towards Lu Chengkong, punched out, and a crisp sonic boom suddenly sounded, as if the air was completely torn where the fist passed. Iron Nugget Tai Chi. As soon as Lu Chengkong entered the battle, his whole person was calm and indifferent. This was also cultivated by years of fighting, and at the same time, he was also influenced by the blood of the devil. Only by fighting in such an absolutely calm and rational state can his strength be used. Play to the extreme. What's the matter? The power has been removed. A flash of surprise flashed in Joseph's eyes, but just when he was surprised, Lu Chengkong made his move, and the right hand in his pocket was suddenly pulled out, killing him more than a bullet. It is necessary to stab Joseph's body horizontally at a high speed. Shigan finger pistol piercing heart. Not good. Joseph's eyelids jumped, and the heartbeat seemed to slow down a lot. A sense of danger enveloped him directly. He turned around without thinking, and escaped Shigan finger pistol piercing the heart, while pressing both hands, a Thomas swinging leg kicked towards Lu Chengkong. Kami-e. Lu Chengkong's expression didn't change, his whole body was like a piece of paper, easily dodging Joseph's attack with the wind brought by Joseph's kick. Rangkyaku Tempest Kick Tempest. Lu Chengkong looked at Joseph who was in front of him with a mocking smile. Unless someone with special abilities was so close, he could only face his Rangkyaku Tempest Kick directly. Hardly blocked, the small vacuum slash like a storm bombed directly on Joseph's body, and the powerful slash and impact blasted his whole body out. Just so much strength. Lu Chengkong's tone was full of disappointment. If his opponent was stronger, he could vent. But with such a little strength, it seems to be similar to Luffy in the CP9 battle, right? Cough, it's really strong, but if you think you can take care of me just like this. I can't be included in the new world until now. Joseph looked very embarrassed, and even his body had been chopped many times. It's just that his eyes were still bright, and he obviously didn't do his best. Oh, really? Then you should be more serious. If your strength is too weak, then it's really boring. Lu Chengkong, who was originally disappointed, suddenly came to his senses, and hoped that Joseph could bring him some excitement and surprise. Arlong bite. Joseph suddenly roared, his body made a clicking sound, and shot at Lu Chengkong at a speed several times faster than before, like a runaway horse, and the whole person was like a terrifying Arlong. He opened his bloody mouth and bit towards Lu Chengkong. Iron Nugget, Steel Body. Lu Chengkong's eyes flashed a trace of disappointment again. Is it still the case with all his strength? A little better than Luffy in second gear, but it's not enough if it's just that. Don't underestimate it. Let you taste my fruit ability, triple attack. Joseph saw the disappointment in Lu Chengkong's eyes, and suddenly he felt despised, and a burst of anger rose up in his heart and punched him in vain. On Lu Chengkong's body, his strength has actually tripled. Huh, very good fruit ability. Lu Chengkong's eyes flashed, and he turned over and kicked the hand that Joseph's hands were blocking, and the whole person kicked out. I eat double fruit. Whether it's speed, defense, or strength, I can instantly increase to the multiple I think. Triple is just the beginning. Joseph said that his fruit ability is also very proud, and he has a lot of strength. Those who are stronger than him just underestimate him during the battle. The moment he is hit, his attack power increases, and the success of the sneak attack all at once leads to a change in the outcome. In his opinion, Lu Chengkong will do the same. It's really good. It suddenly improves at the moment of attacking people. If it is an ordinary person, you will definitely be turned over by you. Unfortunately, it is still useless to me. I have completely lost the desire to fight for you. Let him play with you. Mirror clone. Suddenly, a person who looked exactly like him appeared beside Lu Chengkong. Judging from his aura, he actually had 40% of Lu Chengkong's strength. In addition, he possessed all of Lu Chengkong's abilities, as well as unlimited physical strength, etc. Not to mention that strength alone is enough to crush Joseph in front of him. Okay, wait for the mirror image that you defeated me to come to me. After Lu Chengkong finished speaking, regardless of Joseph's extremely unsightly expression, he disappeared in a flash and was obviously going to play. Husband, was someone chasing you just now? Hancock, the strongest, found out early in the morning, but she didn't want to ruin the harmonious atmosphere. Now that Lu Chengkong was back, she couldn't help asking. Let the avatar take care of him, the avatar works, and the main body enjoys this as the kingly way. Let's go to the playground. Lu Chengkong said, and walked to the playground with the girls who had already had enough shopping addiction. Vivi, who was sitting on the Ferris wheel with all the girls, smiled at the corner of Lu Chengkong's mouth. Don't forget that he and the mirror share the same perspective. Everything is shared, so what the clone experiences, sees, and does are all the same. It is clear that the ontology has absolute control over the clone. When fighting, as long as the main body gives orders, there is no need for Lu Chengkong to control the clone. He will use all of Lu Chengkong's combat skills to achieve the orders given by Lu Chengkong. The tacit understanding of fighting is not comparable to twins who have been trained together since childhood. Just now, Lu Chengkong learned through the same connection with the main body that the clone had killed Joseph. At the same time, Lu Chengkong obtained a new clone, which is the double fruit of Joseph, which can improve speed, strength, defense, etc. Equal multiples. Who said that Logia is the most powerful? Paramesha, Zone also has his terrible ability, but Logia as a whole has the ability of each Logia fruit has all-round ability, and many Paramesha have no direct attack power, and the strength of the user needs to be strong in order to exert the due power, just like this double fruit. 156 Mirror image of fruit devouring ability. The ability of this fruit is very good, but it is still not enough compared to my mirror image fruit, but I really thank you, although my mirror image clone has all my abilities, including hockey, demon transformation, but in many cases attack power, speed, defense, etc. are far worse than the main body, and now with this multiplied fruit, everything is solved. Lu Chengkong almost couldn't help laughing, and he really gave a pillow when he fell asleep. Husband sees you smiling so happily, have you found a new ability that you are satisfied with? Lackey, who had joined with Lu Chengkong, saw the smile on Lu Chengkong's face, and immediately guessed what Lu Chengkong was thinking. That's right, let's see, mirror clone. Lu Chengkong didn't hide his new abilities from his woman, and summoned a mirror clone of him directly in front of them. Reversal mirror image. At the same time as mirror image Lu Chengkong appeared, Lu Chengkong immediately performed reversal mirror image. Joseph's clone appeared next to mirror image Lu Chengkong, standing like two statues in Lu Chengkong and others in front of. Hey, witness my first time. To be honest, when I developed the fruit ability to the point where my clone had 40% of the strength, I was shocked when I obtained this ability. It was terrible, see clearly. Mirror image conversion. Lu Chengkong shouted, his eyes flashed with silver light, and the mirror image Joseph in front of him suddenly became transparent and finally turned into a little starlight, all of which merged into the mirror image Lu Chengkong. Did it succeed? Boa Hancock looked at Lu Chengkong nervously, as if she was the one who used this ability. Obviously, in her heart, she still cared more about Lu Chengkong than herself. Successful. Now my clone has Joseph's fruit ability in addition to everything I have, which can barely make up for the fact that the clone's current combat strength can't keep up with the main body. But unfortunately, this new ability is also defective. When the clone uses the fruit ability, it also needs my body to support it. Quote. Chengkong's tone of voice was a bit regretful when he said this, but it's okay to think about it. After all, nothing is perfect. It's already shocking that this fruit has such a terrifying ability. The ability will definitely be more terrifying. This kind of fruit requires the strength of the main body to be strong, so that his power can be exerted. Otherwise, the main body is not strong, and the clone will kill Joseph. Mirror conversion cannot be used directly by reversing the mirror, and there are several requirements. Use the clone to kill the ability person, and then you can integrate his ability into the clone. Each clone can only have one ability and cannot be changed. However, after the distraction has the ability, the three avatars that are divided can have the same kind of ability, that is, the avatar ability sharing, which means that everything depends on the avatar itself, which means that the strength of the main body cannot keep up. The avatar the strength is not strong, can't kill the ability person with the clone, or it is impossible to integrate the ability of other ability person into the clone. This ability can be said to exist specifically to make up for the ability of the clone to keep up with the main body in the early and mid-term. It does not help the main body at all, but is a test of the strength of the main body. It can also make up for the deficiencies, and it can also become more powerful at that time. It can be said that many of the fruits of Paramesha and Zone need to have a strong body, and then their powerful abilities will be reflected. But Logia is not the case. As long as the fruit ability of Logia is simply developed, it can be very powerful. You can see from the sand crocodile. Simply using the fruit ability can reach the level of Shichibukai. Don't be dissatisfied. If you let the marine people know that you have such a powerful ability, Sengoku may come to you directly. Khalifa burst out laughing, and reached out and touched Lu Chengkong's forehead. Road. People can't be content with the status quo, let alone be satisfied with the status quo. If we hadn't met that mysterious girl when we were young, we might have thought that on the surface, the Marshal of the Four Emperors and Marine Headquarters was the strongest, but now it seems that the world is hidden a lot of hidden powerhouses. If nothing else, it is unclear how the devil fruit came from, and the meaning of D, etc. Our pursuit of strength and strengthening can never be satisfied. I believe that there are people outside the heavens, and there is no strongest, only more strong. I don't want you to be threatened, so I definitely don't allow myself to be satisfied. Lu Chengkong's face was suddenly full of seriousness, although the words he said were very old-fashioned, but in this world of the weak, it was very useful to Hancock and others. I didn't see them all enjoying themselves. Intoxicated look. At the end of the day, Lu Chengkong put everything aside and devoted himself to the career of accompanying his woman. It was only in the evening that Lu Chengkong and the others stopped, but this kind of stability and ordinary life were made by Lu Chengkong. The others are still unfinished, but they all know that wanting to live this kind of life is all based on strong strength. Just look at Rayleigh, he is the deputy captain of One Piece, king of pirates, and the world government does not want to kill him. I really thought about it, but why did I know that he hasn't shot for so many years in Sabayati Archipelago? It's very simple. One is that Rayleigh has no plans to confront Marine, and plans to remain anonymous. The other is Rayleigh's strength. Although he has been regressing due to old age and waste, he has steadily suppressed Kizaru, and the third is because of Rayleigh's name and reputation. Connections. Once the world government moves to deal with Rayleigh, the redheads of the four emperors who came to help immediately, as well as other hidden powers who used to be on One Piece, king of pirates, can be stronger than Whitebeard. Golden Lion's Roger ship is not so simple. If there are only so many people, how can they win against Whitebeard, Golden Lion, and Mei Jun's headquarters? It's just hidden. Red starts, then Whitebeard is absolutely indispensable. Then when the time comes to face the four emperors and the pirates who are constantly in chaos, the marine headquarters will lose a layer of skin even if they win, and face the remaining Shichibukai and others. The four emperors are absolutely dead and dead. Although there is a hidden power behind the marine headquarters, the world government, but the world government is hidden, so the pirates have not hidden the strong. So in the end, if you want to be comfortable, the premise of living a life above others is that you have a proud strength. 157 Meet Rayleigh. Where are you going to eat? Kanaza's delicate little face was full of unfinished expressions. It was obvious that she had been playing crazy for a while just now. The long-term life at sea was very depressing for her little woman. Litha and the other women may be with her, and she may not be able to bear it anymore. Of course it's interesting to let the strong cook for us, am I right? Dana. Lu Chengkong looked at Portgas D. Dana, who didn't know when he appeared, and asked with deep meaning. You know a lot. Sometimes you really want to pry open your head to see what's inside. Logically speaking, It's impossible for you to know these things. Chew. Portgas D. Dana chuckled and said in a half-joking tone. Let's go and see the demeanor of the deputy captain of One Piece, King of Pirates today. Liu Changkong didn't care. He released observation haki directly, feeling the two powerful auras above Sabayati Archipelago, and immediately walked in the direction of the momentum. At the same time, in a bar in Sabayati Archipelago, Rayleigh, the king of the underworld, who usually sees the dragon but does not see the end, is now sitting in a sloppy chair, drinking and saying, "That guy is about to die. He is really mysterious enough. He actually knew about our hunger early in the morning, and even knew about the relationship between me and Hachi. I'm also very surprised. When I heard Hachi, I really didn't believe it. How old is he? How much he knows so much? Hee, don't be surprised, they're coming this way." Suddenly, Pluto Rayleigh's eyes changed, and his eyes shot out, completely opposite to the usual bad old man. After Rayleigh's voice fell, the door of the bar, which had been closed, opened with a click, and a young man in a black trench coat, a white bottom shirt and a hat came into view. Followed by a more beautiful beauties. Some are mature and attractive, some are charming and sexy, some are indescribably glamorous. Any place this group of women is placed is an existence that attracts everyone's attention. It's so strong. Although the king of Pluto Rayleigh has retreated a lot over the years, his vision is still there. He has seen too many strong people, so when he saw Liu Changkong and his party, he immediately judged their strength. I couldn't help but glance at Aunt Xiao who was behind me, and I could see the shock in the other's eyes. Although I had seen it in the reward order, it was still far from what I saw with my own eyes. Such a see the pirate group in the New World is the existence of the first-line powerhouse, and it is only one line behind the top 4 Emperor-level pirate group. Is Pluto Rayleigh? There is another woman who was hunted down by Garp. Aunt Xiao, we are here to eat. Liu Changkong spoke his own words very directly, facing Liu Changkong, who spoke amazingly. Zongkong Rayleigh and Aunt Xiao's eyes suddenly became dull, but after all, they are strong men who have existed for a long time, and they came back to their senses in an instant. It even directly confronted Liu Changkong. If everyone comes here to eat, then am I going to go bankrupt? If you don't have money to spend, just stay and wash the dishes. Aunt Xiao said after taking a breath. It's really stingy. As a senior, shouldn't you take care of the junior? Liu Changkong did his part and went to the chair in front of the counter, sat down, grabbed a drink and drank it. Rayleigh, go in and cook. Do you mean I'm very old? When someone said that she was a senior, does that mean that she is very old? But she is really old. If it weren't for her strength, and the fact that she was well maintained, she would have been wrinkled just like the female doctor at Chopper, but she was still a middle-aged woman. I didn't say that, but if you want to understand that, I can't stop you. Anyway, the brain is yours, not mine. Liu Changkong secretly looked at the woman in front of him. Although she was not as strong as Rayleigh, it was not much worse otherwise. She wouldn't have lived so well in Sabayati Archipelago. After all, the strength of someone who can be hunted down by Garp, a 4 Emperor-level powerhouse, would be poor, even if he didn't wash his hands for many years. Interesting kid, can you answer a question for me? Aunt Xiao Vivi Isho showed a hint of curiosity in her eyes. Want to ask how I know about you? This is difficult to answer, because even if I say it, you won't believe it. Liu Changkong didn't lie. Really? Then forget it, kid, since I still like you, I'll send you a private message. Garp, Akainu, Kizaru, the 3 of them are chasing you, just because Akainu and Kizaru are fighting in the nest, plus Garp did it on purpose, so there was a problem with their route, otherwise you might not be able to stand in front of me. Quote. Aunt Xiao's words came out, the expressions of Khalifa and the others changed. After all, although they had never seen Garp, the shadow of the famous tree, Garp's strength, as long as he is not an idiot, knows that he is definitely beyond Admiral's existence. Now not only does Garp have Garp, there are even 2 admirals, although Liu Changkong had already guessed it before, but now that it is confirmed, his face is still extremely heavy. Hey, the pirate business is really hard to do. No wonder you've lost your hands after so many years. Is it necessary to be so serious about our new pirate team? Lu Chengkong's words almost didn't make Rayleigh, who was cooking in the kitchen, angry. After death, what kind of rookie is this? Even if it is not Portgas de Dana, the combat power of Lu Chengkong and others is frightening to death, and all of them are so young, so they don't let people live. Now you can't do it if you want to wash your hands. You're a powerful man now. Marine is a thorn in the eye. Only Whitebeard, Golden Lion, Roger and others can receive such treatment, so even if you die, your reputation will spread throughout the greatness. The waterway is over. Aunt Xiao's face was also a little strange when she faced Lu Chengkong. So, I said just now that you should take care of the juniors as seniors. Now there is a great opportunity to put them here. When Garp and the others come, help me block Garp and Kizaru, and wait for us to surround Akainu. He was beaten to death and was carrying them both. Lu Chengkong said directly without feeling ashamed of his words. 158 Rayleigh in tears. You really know how to say, I finally washed my hands in a golden pot, but I don't want to lose my stable life and solve my own affairs. Aunt Xiao ruthlessly refused directly. If you refuse, just refuse, can't you be a little more polite? Lu Chengkong just said casually. He didn't like to rely on other people's strength to solve the problem, so he never thought of asking Aunt Xiao for help. His favorite are use your own hands to remove all obstacles that stand in your way, even if the enemy is very strong this time. But we were hunted by Marine twice, once by Kuzan and once by Shichibukai. As the saying goes, there are only 3 things. Since Marine is biting my tail like a dog, this time I have to give them a big gift, hee hee. Do you think that with Garp and 2 admirals, we will be settled? Lu Chengkong's eyes were full of vicious light, but his tone of speech was very calm. Seeing this, Aunt Xiao was also a little chilling. The second son of Kung Fu, who is heavy and calmly controls his emotions, will become a great tool. Oh, these are Marine's highest combat power. It can be said that if it is not a life and death battle, other than Whitebeard, even the General 4 Emperors will not have this treatment. I admit that the strength of your pirate group is even the strongest. There can also be a place in the New World, but Garp is a real 4 Emperor level powerhouse. Even if the red hair with his left hand is not broken, he is not his opponent. Maybe the one who can stabilize his head among the pirates in the world today is Whitebeard. Quote. Aunt Xiao was also interested now. He really couldn't come to Lu Chengkong to face this matter and not only calm down, but he even thought of killing him. If it was someone else, Aunt Xiao would have thought he was an idiot, but he was calm in front of him. Her eyes were full of viciousness, but the murderous Lu Chengkong instinctively made her feel that the person in front of her was not bragging. Garp, this Rokushiki, has long since cultivated to the point where he returned to his basics and is a mellow and comfortable person. It is very difficult to kill him completely. If he wants to escape, even Whitebeard can't kill him. As far as I am right now, I have never thought about it. I want to kill him, but Akainu has a bad temper. When encountering a problem, he often does not think about it at the first time, but takes action directly, and he has a good face. If he uses it properly, he may not be able to keep him. Lu Chengkong Hihi Isho, he is not arrogant enough to think that he can keep Kaxi, at least it is impossible to stay now, not to mention that after Akainu was killed by Akainu in the big event in the original book, Garp immediately shot and wanted to kill Akainu, but Sengoku on one side held him down. A vice admiral dared to say these words in front of so many people. This is not too sad, but because Garp has this ability, and Sengoku on the other side also knows this, so he stopped Garp too. He didn't want to go with the angry Garp and kill Akainu. So Lu Chengkong wants to kill only Kuzan. As for Kizaru, he doesn't want to ruin his life and face, but he doesn't have the impulsiveness of Akainu. Once he is provoked, he will not stop until he kills the opponent. It's very, and with his glint glint fruit, even if the glint glint fruit is the source fruit of glint glint fruit, it can suppress it, but it is impossible to kill him with the current strength, unless Khalifa or Lu Chengkong's strength reaches Admiral. After all, that's the advantage of speed. I admit that your words are very reasonable, but this time it's not just the 3 of them. Vice Admiral words are definitely a little bit. If their vice admiral is just dragging you down, one or two of them are still enough. Yes, and the strength of these two little girls is dead or alive in the face of vice admiral, so you must send someone to protect the two of them, even if you can beat a Kainu. Aunt Xiao is very cool. Anything can be said, as long as her interest comes, it doesn't matter whether you keep it secret or not. It seems that you don't know how to help. Why do you need to pay for a meal? So I won't tell you. Although Lu Chengkong knew that it was okay to tell her, but just now this woman didn't give her face so much, so she had to fight back. One time. Cut, I won't say it if you don't say it. Congratulations on your team's destruction. Aunt Xiao, who had interrupted his interest, said with a venomous tongue. Portgas D. Dana, who was on the surprising side, didn't speak today. Instead, she restrained her aura and pretended to be someone with strength similar to Vice Admiral. Soon Rayleigh, the cook, would after taking out the cooked food and having a full meal, Lu Chengkong and others decided to get up and leave to go to the auction house. After all, there is Tenryubito in the auction house of Sabayati Archipelago. Thing. You guys also go to the auction house. I'll go too. Rayleigh became interested after knowing the whereabouts of Lu Chengkong and others. After all, when he had no money, he often went to the auction house to collect money, took himself to the auction, and then robbed him. The man who auctioned him. You pretended to be a slave to be auctioned off again, and then robbed your auctioneer. Although Lu Chengkong was asking questions, his tone was full of affirmation. Aunt Xiao's eyes flashed behind him, and he secretly said that he really understood everything about us, even Rayleigh's habit. I'm just acting as a messenger of justice and educating those slave owners. Rayleigh said with his face unchanged, but if he looked carefully, he could still see a little cramp in the corners of his eyes. Obviously, these things are not glorious things, not to mention the fact that people say it face to face, even if he has high experience and thick skin, he can't hang on. Ha ha. Although Aunt Xiao was surprised that Lu Chengkong knew about Rayleigh's habit, she couldn't help laughing more. In the end, she couldn't help laughing. She didn't care about Rayleigh, whose face was getting darker and darker. Isn't Aunt Xiao coming? I was planning to give you a gift. Lu Chengkong knew that in the pirate world, Aunt Xiao and Rayleigh, although the strength of the old rivers and lakes had regressed a lot, but the connections and fame of that person were definitely very strong. In the case of enemies, making good friends with them is only good for Lu Chengkong and others, not bad. After all, it is better to have one more friend than one more enemy in this world, not to mention that the two of them are not vicious and sinister villains, but broad-minded people. This kind of friend is worth making. Oh, you're a cheapskate who can also give gifts, but at least it's better than some old man who only prostitutes and gambles money and eats soft rice. Aunt Xiao did not hide and care about Rayleigh's face directly to Rayleigh's malignant. It was made public, and Rayleigh couldn't help speeding up and disappearing in front of Lu Chengkong and the others, but Rayleigh faintly heard a burst of laughter behind him, which made him step faster. 159 Auction House. You are lucky today. Every year at this time of the year, the auction house has treasures that are not usually available. Of course, they are usually prepared for Tenryubito. After Aunt Xiao closed the door of the bar, they followed Lu Chengkong and his group. The auction house may not be as good as the world's top auction houses in terms of decoration, but the contents inside are extremely precious in any place. It looks like you are really familiar with this place, Rayleigh. I think you make a lot of money here at this time of year. Lu Chengkong still did not forget to give a small blow to Rayleigh, Khalifa and other women who were sitting next to him as he spoke. Laughing, they didn't expect the vice captain of One Piece, king of pirates, to have this hobby. Well, let's not talk about this. I received news that Tenryubito actually fights the Princess of the Dragon Palace Kingdom on Fishman Island. The Princess of the Dragon Palace Kingdom on Fishman Island, who only appears once in hundreds of years and can communicate with Neptune Lu. Mermaid Princess, has the huge power that can save countless lives or sink the world into the bottom of the sea. Although I don't know if they succeeded, if they succeed, it is very dangerous. Pluto Rayleigh can only surrender to Lu Chengkong's mouth, and at the same time change the topic. Princess Mermaid, Lu Chengkong asked puzzled. This time he didn't pretend, because when he crossed over, he only saw the end of the big event and Luffy's group going to practice, and Bartholomew Kuma guarding Luffy's. Those things about the boat were all he saw in the fan novels. In the original book, he just saw there, so he didn't know anything about the mermaid princess behind him, so he showed this expression. You don't know. Now it was Rayleigh and Aunt Xiao's turn to be surprised. The two of them thought Lu Chengkong was a know-it-all and knew everything, but they didn't expect to know such a big thing, but instead they knew some shameful things about Rayleigh. I don't know what's so strange. Don't forget that the farthest I have come to the Great Waterway is to come here. How can I know what happens next? Lu Chengkong said angrily. At the same time he also secretly hated one. Why didn't the author of Peace, King of Pirates finish writing One Piece, King of Pirates before he crossed? If he finished writing, he would know more things. You also know that Tenryubito has some more perverted hobbies, like to play with slaves, especially rare and beautiful ones, especially mermaids. So the Supreme Mermaid Princess is their favorite, but they are not on land, and the Mermaid Princess seems to have been staying at home, so even if Tenryubito has a lot of money, there is no way to get it. After all, it is impossible for the world government to directly help them send someone to the Dragon Palace Kingdom to snatch someone else's princess, but Tenryubito actually sent a reward privately this time. Who can help them catch this mermaid princess and give him 500 million? Pluto Rayleigh said that his face was a little heavy. Roger agreed with the coexistence of humans and mermaids before his death. Unfortunately, the differences between races and discrimination are not so easy to solve, and he let Whitebeard take care of mermaids before he died. It's a pity that he can't solve this problem himself, so of course Rayleigh, as the deputy captain, doesn't want these things to happen. After all, once Tenryubito gets the mermaid princess, the relationship between the two will definitely become hatred and can't be anymore. The existence of hatred. It's just that Lu Chengkong didn't know that because of his existence, many things have changed in the original book. Just like the mermaid princess, although Tenryubito also wanted to beat her in the original book, but the results were unsuccessful, but now these things have changed dramatically, but unfortunately he doesn't know it now, and he can't know it anymore. 500 million. Hehe, a pirate with admiral-level strength in the New World has to do several major things to get such a reward. Tenryubito is really rich. Lu Chengkong said with a tisk. This is only on the bright side. Tenryubito has such wealth. If it is the core existence, then isn't the rich scaring people to death? After all, I prefer young girls, let alone mermaid princesses, so I came here to see. After all, although Tenryubito's heart is extremely dirty, they have one advantage, so they are extremely proud and rarely do it. Some things that don't give money, so basically the people who help Tenryubito get the bounty and send it to the auction house, and the auction is going on, and Tenryubito doesn't care about a little money. Maybe for them, this is equal to us. Alms, but also a way of showing their superiority. Quote. Rayleigh drooled when he said that young girls. Hancock sent a marrow mellow very directly to petrify Rayleigh. Okay, welcome all guests to our auction house. Although we only auctioned 5 items today, the price of each item is definitely over 100 million, so please look forward to it. A male auctioneer held a hammer knocked everyone's attention, but he didn't dare to say too much nonsense. After all, there were a few Tenryubitos sitting in the front row. If it was too long-winded, one would not annoy them. People are dead and can't die again, so he directly enters the theme. The first piece to be auctioned is the famous sword that all swordsmen flock to, only the Big Quick Sword Hongxie Zuo character under the Supreme Big Quick Sword, and it is a relatively rare short sword, easy to carry, even if it is not a swordsman, it is self-defense. Because this kind of famous knife is relatively rare, the bottom price of the second knife is 30 million berry. The male host briefly introduced this short knife with only a little curvature and gorgeous decoration, and then started the auction directly. 40 million. 50 million. Ellipsis. It seems to be a lot cheaper. Lu Chengkong found in his heart that as the time from the original book got closer, the price of famous knives became cheaper and cheaper. The big knives that were only under the infinite knives before could not be obtained without 100 million. But thinking about it, it was also at that time that pirates emerged in an endless stream, strong people continued to emerge, and new worlds were constantly fighting, and now they have basically stabilized. Some of the famous swords in the hands of the dead swordsmen also basically went to the auction house or were harvested by marine. The strength of the pirates began to weaken, and the era of the great pirates began to decline from the peak, so these weapons that have greatly improved their strength are also cheaper. Many powerful swordsmen have died in the battles of the New World, and this phenomenon is caused by a combination of factors. 100 million. Tenryubito, who had never made a move, suddenly shouted. After shocking the audience, he raised his head proudly. The old man swept the crowd with contempt, as if he was telling everyone about this. I Tenryubito who dares to grab it. 160 treasure tree Adam. Tenryubito is really careless, but he's idiot enough. He's proud to be a water fish. Lu Chengkong sneered. When Hancock looked at Tenryubito, he didn't have the fear and panic in the original book. Looks like he's going to kill someone. If it wasn't for the mysterious girl back then, plus Lu Chengkong's signal to wait a moment, Hancock didn't violently kill people. Don't think that her female tyrant's name was blown out. The female emperor just converged in front of Lu Chengkong to be a good boy, a little woman, but once she treats other people and makes her unhappy and unpleasant, she definitely made a mistake and didn't let it go. Don't be impulsive, wait for the 5 auction items to come out, and then let's take action. Killing will be avoided, but maiming is absolutely necessary. There is a saying in the world that life is better than death. Let these Tenryubito buy everything. Now, not only will I be able to take care of them directly, but I will also be able to get these things at no cost. Quote. Seeing Hancock's appearance, Lu Chengkong could not wait to rush out to kill all the Tenryubito here, but thinking that Garp and the others were chasing him, if he killed Tenryubito at this time, the last admiral in Marine's headquarters would come to drag him, or if the marshals all came, then it would be troublesome. And although these Tenryubito hate, but Lu Chengkong and others owe the mysterious girl a favor after all, so if they kill it, it's fine, whether it's for the sake of themselves and others or the favor. They can't kill them for the time being. Of course, if Tenryubito takes the initiative to provoke, if you wait for others, then you will definitely kill. This is a 100 million berry in Hongshuizhuo. Seeing Tenryubito speaking, Tenryubito didn't bother to buy things, but these things were definitely Tenryubito's, and others were just here to set off Tenryubito's existence. I said, Juliana, this short knife is good. In the future, you will become the strongest swordsman, or you will encounter some challenges from swordsmen whose strength does not satisfy you. They disdain you to pull out Muramasa, so you can use it to carry it easily. The dagger is gone, and maybe at some critical moment this dagger can also play a key role. Quote. Lu Chengkong hadn't even got the knife, and it had already been allocated to make Rayleigh and Aunt Xiao on the side stunned, but what he said was not unreasonable. After all, this weapon was like the dagger on Hawkeye's neck. It is just a little longer than the dagger of Hawkeye. It is the best challenge to send some people who are not strong enough, and it is easy to carry. Maybe it can play an unexpected role in the absence of weapons or in some situations. You're right, I want this. Juliana thought it was a good idea, so she agreed directly under the strange eyes of Rayleigh and Aunt Xiao. Does this count as a clear robbery? It's sturdy enough, and the account has already been split before the shot is taken. Aunt Xiao and Rayleigh looked at each other and thought to themselves. At the same time, they also understood what Lu Chengkong meant by giving her a gift. If you rob it, you don't have to spend a penny. If it is found on her body, it will be another trouble. Damn little brat, I want to trick the old lady, but don't think I'm a vegetarian. If you dare to give it to me, dare to ask for it, take it with you, and see who dares to trouble the old lady. The big deal is to push Rayleigh out to face the trouble. Aunt Xiao thought fiercely in her heart, while Rayleigh on the side shuddered all over at the same time. Apparently innocent, he had been sold by Aunt Xiao without his knowledge. The second piece is a precious jewelry seized after a kingdom that supported the Revolutionary Army was destroyed by Marine. It is a set of 10 pieces. It is gorgeous and noble. It is the treasure of the royal family of which kingdom? As he said that, the auctioneer opened the big box in front of him, and the 10 pieces of jewelry in it immediately caught the eyes of everyone present. Even though many of the people present were rich people who had added a lot of good things, they saw that they were shining brightly in front of them. Full of it is noble and gorgeous, but it also has a mysterious atmosphere. It is obviously a long time ago, but there has not been any change in the past New Year. It is simply the top-level existence in jewelry. Hancock, Khalifa, Lackey, Khanis, I've never given you any gifts, although I know you don't want to be here and don't care, but as your man, husband, I know what to do. Those jewels, even if it is the first gift I give you, it can be regarded as a token of our love. Quote. Lu Chengkong had already made up his mind when he saw the jewelry in front of him. He had never given them any gifts, but they never cared about them, nor did they bother to ask for these things. All he wanted was his concern, but Lu Chengkong still felt that he wanted to give them a good gift, and these were good choices in front of him. Hancock and Khalifa didn't speak, they just looked at each other. Without exception, they were all touched and wet. They involuntarily stretched out their jade hands and put them in Lu Chengkong's hands, as if they wanted to express all the love in their hearts through this. Pass it into Lu Chengkong's heart. Sure enough, the jewelry this time was taken away by Tenryubito, and everyone else came to serve as a foil. The third auction item was indeed the same devil fruit as Lu Chengkong had imagined. I don't need to say more about the price of the devil fruit. No matter what era, the treasure of the sea will never drop in price. The starting price is 150 million berry. The auctioneer took out a zone devil fruit, but it's not clear what the ability is, and I don't know if I think about it. This kind of devil fruit that doesn't even have a picture book is usually more expensive to shoot, because who knows if there is some terrible and powerful ability in it. Of course, it may also be a low start. Ability, everything is a gamble. 300 million bellies. Tenryubito's patience seemed to be worn out, and he didn't give other people the chance to bid at all. He doubled the price without even thinking about it. Faced with Tenryubito's wealth and wealth, everyone could only shut up. Then again, this devil fruit also belongs to Tenryubito. Now it's the climax of the auction. The last 2 items will definitely surprise everyone. Please wait and see. After speaking, the auctioneer clicked his fingers, and the door on the left suddenly opened, almost a dozen or 20 muscles. The man struggled to carry a large object covered by a white cloth and walked in. Maybe everyone will feel strange, what such a thing would be, and today I will tell you that it is the treasure tree atom. Of course, this is only part of it, but I think everyone knows how much this thing is worth. The starting price is 200 million. The auctioneer's words made everyone present except Lu Chengkong and Tenryubito gasped involuntarily. The reserve price was 200 million, so how much was the auction?